Hello and welcome again to Kyo's Academy League Game 2. Tonight we're going to have action from Chicken Farmers against FeelsGoodMan. Joining me tonight on the coaching panel, I've got the man who started it all, Kyo.
Yeah,
It's good to have you here this evening. And
clearly.
we've also got joining us, when he's not stitching up people back together in med school, he's kicking ass and taking names on his favourite Invoker mid. That is Carl. Carl, how are you tonight?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
It's good. So Kyo, maybe you could, just in case anyone's not aware, give us some info about, how things started off, how the tournament formed, and what brought us to this point.
Well, honestly, we had this community for a while now. We have the roots in coaching. We always try to create teams, lower ranked teams, but honestly, we have teams across all ranks, like unranked Herald until like Immortal. Mostly Europe. But the point is, Reinhardt came to me with Coach Siadoma, and they wanted to create a league. And I've been wanting this for a very long time myself, but I couldn't do it alone. But then I had this great help, and Reinhardt, he's like, Jesus, he's working on it for 80 hours every week. It's completely insane.
And Carl, what about yourself? How did you become involved in the tournament?
Well, I hosted the coaching tournament last year, and that's how I got to meet Kyo. And ever since then, I've been part of this community.
Cool. So, as I say, tonight we've got Chicken Farmers against FeelsGoodMan. Now, Chicken Farmers, they're quite a newly formed team, just brought together for the basis of this tournament. And I think I was speaking to them this afternoon. They come from varying backgrounds, but from what I'm told, and I quote, the only thing they have in common is they like to farm chickens. That's just what I've been told. Do you think that they've had enough time to gel together as a team? Do you think that they've done enough, like friendly scrims and stuff? Have they got it tonight together? Kyo, Carl, do you have any comments on that at all?
Well, I've been coaching the chicken farmers, so I think they're doing pretty well.
So
But
you,
I
have you
don't think they scrimped.
so you've seen them play, and you think they are
Yeah.
prepared for tonight?
Yep. Totally.
Okay, well, that's good to hear. I feels good, man. On complete opposite side of the spectrum, they've been playing together for a very long time, since Dota 1, actually. I know you're saying, Feels Goodman, sorry, Chicken Farmers, they have gelled recently, but do you think that sort of long history with Feels Goodman, that could maybe give them the edge tonight? Carl or Kyo, do you
Well, it's definitely an advantage to have a long relationship in a team because it's not just based on skills, but how they got used to each other and the experience they had. So, yeah.
I think we did have some news this afternoon. Feels Goodman, their carry SRNs actually had to pull out this evening due to had a little bit of an illness. Do you think, how could this impact them?
Well, it's gonna be an interesting series, isn't it? And I feel like, sure, they're a long-term team, the Feels Good Man, but the chicken fighters, well, sometimes experience can blind you.
Okay.
We're gonna need some fresh ideas, and perhaps we surprise the Feels Good Man team.
Okay. I think we're probably about ready to move across to the drafting stage just now. And we can see what the team's going to pick. Are we able to move across to drafting? Are both teams ready? So we've got a bit of technical difficulty there. We good? Um. Okay, so just any second now we'll see the draft. Kyo, if you've been coaching the chicken farmers a bit, can you give us any insight? Are you allowed to spill any beans about maybe what they're looking for?
Soon when we start the draft, yeah. So I did some individual coaching with the mid player, and his mechanics are really on point right now. He actually almost beat me in a 1v1 later. And the offlane is going to be quite interesting. So we are probably seeing a nice synergy in the offlane, but it's not gonna be the usual like mechanical synergy. Like let's say Slaughter Grimstroke, where he just inkswell the Slaughter and he runs at people. It's gonna be a conceptual synergy, which might be complicated, but I wanted to give them a hard task. So let's see how it works.
Okay. Looks like we're into the draft just now. If you want to just maybe take us through Keo and Carl, just what we see when these bands start coming
Sure,
out.
yeah. We're gonna have to expect some meta bans, right? Like the Wraith Kings, for example, the Rickies. It's kinda weird to ban these carries early, but they're so in meta.
I'm hoping to see some Puck today.
Fuck. Yeah, he's also in every game, isn't he? I feel like the
Yeah.
mid lane cares a lot about, like, if you're farming, you're losing, right? If you play the mid lane,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to play high tempo. Like we see some tinies in the pro games, we see the spirit heroes a lot, and of course the Puck. The right click Puck actually great here. Medusa first pick. What? What happened? Wait, I don't see the bans. That's weird.
I don't see the bans either. It's kind of weird.
What's happening? Is this the wrong guys? Is this the wrong game mode?
It should have
This is
been
not Captain's
right,
mode.
but it looks like it. Oh, maybe it is. Disaster.
What is happening?
Hold on, we gotta start this over.
Just start it again. No worries, no problem. All good, all good. Just restart the lobby.
I gotta disconnect right from this one.
Apologies for that. I will notify the teams.
No worries. So are we gonna see a first ban Medusa? Interesting.
Do you think that gives
No, we
something
don't.
away there? do they want the Medusa? Is that-
Unwillingly. There's gonna be a Reddit post. Goddamn organizers gave away our strategy. Baited. It's rigged.
So I think we're just going to remake the lobby and move straight back across to the draft. I think Z's in charge of it. we can blame him.
I'm remaking the lobby. My bad, everyone. And all the settings are fixed now, I believe. So everyone should just be able to rejoin the lobby again, and we'll get going.
I can't see it yet. I don't know. Kind of weird. Maybe Q can invite me if he's in.
Let me see.
Keo, while we're just waiting, what did you watch the games last night? Has anything impressed you there?
I was mostly looking at the casting and like the organizing stuff. Not too much of games actually. Like we're gonna have more than enough games, but I wanna assure like quality on like the outside of things. Carl, by the way, the lobby's live now. You should be able to see it.
Second.
I was really liking the
I see it.
Juggernaut pick though, in I believe the first game.
So you liked that
Nice.
Juggernaut pick,
Yeah.
or did that
Yeah,
surprise you?
I liked it. I liked it. They had no answer, the enemy team, right? They're like no disable through the blade through. He could just spin and TP out all the time. And Klings also picked up, I believe, second item BKB, which was like, quite nice. I think the caster Tiger mentioned, since the enemies do not have a counter for the Juggernaut spin, they as well don't have a counter for the BKB on Klings, the early BKB.
So do you think that was a drafting issue then in that game?
Yeah, probably. I actually created a bit of a checklist that I shared with some of the teams, not all of them. It's a checklist for drafting for many situations. So the teams should be able to deal with many situations that might arise in the game forced by the enemy team. So you want to have team fight disables, you want to have low cooldown quick disables, and you want to have BKB or piercing disables, for example. I feel like too many new teams, especially in the tier 4 and tier 5 scene, they do draft way too many cooldown reliant heroes. Like these Wombo combo heroes that they might know from the pro games. But then again, you need this massive coordination, which is not good to try out that early in a team.
So do you mean heroes which have got these sort of like big team fight abilities?
Yeah,
and
like the
bit too
Warlock,
medicine?
Faces Void, yeah. It's a bit of an issue with many new teams. They just get too many of those, and then enemies. Sure, they might lose a fight, but when the enemies respawn, they can just freely roam around the map and kill anyone.
So what heroes do you think would benefit the teams a bit more then?
Honestly, for the beginning, comfort heroes, and try to prefer synergy over counter picks. If you have the best counters and your team doesn't work together, you don't really have a team. So comfort.
Maybe worry a little bit less about what the enemy team's trying to do and just focus on your own game.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting. 'Cause I think when we have seen some of the teams play, it appears at least during the draft that they are, trying to consider, how to counter that enemy team and maybe not think about themselves so much. So that's a very interesting point. You mentioned that those big sort of cooldowns and maybe not pulling them off too, but if we saw the scrim earlier in the week, there was an absolutely fantastic Tidehunter and puck play, which I think took everyone's breath away at the time. Did you see that one yourself?
Oh, I saw it, yeah. That was beautiful. Like, you can certainly have 1 or 2 of these heroes, but if you get like 4 or 5, as many teams tend actually to do, it's a bit risky.
Okay.
It's just overkill.
I think we are sort of ready to go back to the draft, and hopefully it'll be set in the right game mode this time.
We got this.
I believe any second now we should be able to move across there.
Yeah, the teams are just picking their sides again, and then we're loading up now.
Just think, will we see that Medusa pick come out? Or is it going to be banned?
Probably ban. Which is interesting. Why would you ban first Medusa? I feel like this gives away a bunch, because it's not a meta hero. I mean, it's not terrible in the meta. Medusa has been quite a sleeper pick, in my opinion. If you look at the change logs over the past year, Medusa has gotten probably 10 or 11 buffs in a row. Sure, small ones. But if you think back, without any nerfs, her ultimate did not use to give any movement speed, and now it's 50% during the entire duration. It's quite a sleeper pick. Could be meta at some point again. But right now, Doda's pretty fast. Ah, the puck ban. Meta, there we go. Finally.
I'm sad.
Oh,
Want to see some puck action. Started to love the hero.
Yeah, it's fun to watch, isn't it? Loads of outplay potential in the laning phase, loads of ganking, loads of action.
Yeah. Somehow it feels a little bit similar to Amber Spirit because you can juke a lot and skill-based hero.
Have you guys seen the logo of the chicken farmers? That's amazing. It's a spray from the battle pass. Amazing. Okay, both teams are already committing some of the reserve time.
I was actually going to say this. There's quite a lot of thought. Looks like it's going into from the chicken farmers around this ban.
Maybe they actually wasted all of the bans that they wanted last round, and now they gotta think of some new stuff. Okay, I was about to say, the Ogre first ban is a pretty strong laner, right? He's really tanky, he can frontline for the carry, so he can usually pick a weak laner like a Morphling. But again, it's not really the best for that job. Undying, on the other hand, is like the best for this job. Like tanking, and also actually with the Morphling, because you can heal him up efficiently. You can frontline because Morphling is really weak before level 3, 5. So Undying and Ogre means they do not want to play against a strong enemy safe lane, meaning they pick like roaming heroes like the Shaker. So it's probably gonna be a solo offlaner. Or to spoil you guys, I think they picked a starter. We practiced Shaker and starter. That's one of the conceptual combos I mentioned. What do I mean with that? Well, conceptual because Shaker, if you think about it, he is amazing at not contributing to the lane directly. He's amazing at manipulating creep waves, right? He starts with boots. He skips enemy waves. He fissure blocks his wave, enemy waves all the time. It's really annoying to deal with. And there we go, the starter. There we go. That's my boy.
Spoiler.
So, and the starter, of course, if you think about his passive, he does want to have the lane really close to his tower. If the lane is close to enemy tower, he can never use his passive. And that's the strong part. That's what he wants. Okay, both teams picking offlane combos. Interesting. Mars and Grim, very good kill combo. Inkswell, Stroke, Silence into Spear. Brutal. So you want to think about picks like Lifestealer, Juggernaut, who can dodge that stuff. Perhaps a Slark? But you need a carry who's really survivable. With an ability. Okay, they're banning a lot of safe laners on Team Radiant. As I mentioned, these strong supports and also the strong laning Monkey King. That makes a lot of sense. Because you don't really have a strong combo. Sure, you got the synergy conceptually, but you still want to roam with the Shaker. Meaning you won't storm the lane, but this drafting technique reminds me of TI. What was it, TI 9 or 8? I think 9. Yeah, there wasn't a 10. It must be the last one. In TI 9, in the first week, the group stage, what we saw a lot was a new trend in the drafting order. Teams started picking, like, first phasing the mid laner, and then they banned 2 counters to protect it. So this right here is a bit of a safer technique where you pick your offlane combo, which is not strong at laning, but it is a combo. But you just ban every single strong safe lane support and carry. Easy lane right there.
5 seconds.
The teams seem to know the meta well, especially Team FeelsGoodMan. As I mentioned earlier, Puck is a really popular mid laner right now, due to the high tempo capabilities, due to Gleipnir being an option. And we also see some really good disablers, like the Earthspirit and Lion. Why the disablers? Well, guys, Satanic got nerfed. There's not much status resistance in the game. There are some abilities like Spirit Breaker's second ability, and Ursa's ultimate, I do believe, with a talent. But the fact that you can't just buy a Satanic on a late game carry right now to almost nullify these long disables means these long disables are now in meta again. So the Shamans and Lions, they get banned a lot. Earth Spirits get banned a lot. The Silence, by the way, I was surprised by that yesterday after dying to it in a pub. The Silence of Earth Spirit is actually 6.5 seconds long. So that's quite terrifying to play against. PL ban. Yeah, PL actually has one of these survival mechanics that I mentioned. Like the Ricky, they both have mobility with the Doppelganger and Blink and Tricks of Trade, which is what you want against the Silence, Inkswell, and Spear combo.
Dyer's pick.
Juggernaut. There we go. So far, the drafting makes a lot of sense. It's beautiful. Carl, what do you think?
With both teams, are you saying you quite like
Yeah,
that for
both teams.
drafts so far?
I like both.
Yeah, I was expecting some physical damage next to Starter, of course, and Juggernaut also can buy easily Sanjay Yasha, which is kind of meta since, as you mentioned earlier, Satanic is nerf. So, yeah, it is stunning meta. It's good.
Yeah, exactly.
And also you can escape, with the spin, so it's really good. You can also split push. Right now, like they don't have anything to stop the spin TP yet, and they won't. I was expecting maybe some Troll Warlord. I would have loved to see it. But it's nice though.
There's absolutely no hesitation there with the Lich and Winter Wyvern
10
picks.
seconds to go.
Do you think both teams have got a bit of an idea in their head already about what they're going for?
5 seconds.
think the main idea with the Winter Wyvern is to have some CC, because the only CC they have is Earthshaker. So Winter Wyvern is gonna also sort of counter PA, because you can kill, she can kill support with ult, and also gain advantage in team fights, with initiation.
So we mentioned that the FeelsGoodMan team has been playing for a very, very long time, since Dota 1. Perhaps some of the viewers weren't even born then. So that's a long time. But we do see the same drafting order, right? Offlane combos, safe lane bans, and meta bans, and then the carry, then the position 5s. And it's interesting because the Juggernaut makes a lot of sense against the offlane combo of Team Dire, FeelsGoodMan.
10 seconds.
And Juggernaut is not that easy to counter because he's more survivable compared to a PA. And suddenly we get the Winter Wyvern, which is just an amazing counter, right? You got the Cold Embrace completely nullifying PA. Like, PA doesn't want to buy, let's say, well, maybe an MKB, but not really like a Maelstrom, stuff like that, to get like some magical damage on the Cold Embrace. So PA just can't do much about it. But then again, Lip is also pretty nice. Yeah, sorry?
I think that the Radiant will have an early Roshan timing, because they have Slardar, which reduces armor, and also Winter Wyvern can counter initiate if they get initiated on. So yeah, I expect early Roshan.
Yeah, also healing ward.
Yeah, healing ward. So
sorry, no, go ahead. Sorry, I'm interrupting you.
Now go for it. I don't want this to be a monologue.
I was going to say, so in terms of the last two picks available, what can you see both teams going for there?
10 seconds to go. Radiant's pick.
Let's see. Chicken farmers. Let's see. Initiation-wise, we do lack some for the early game, so a puck would have been nice. Later, of course, you have the Shaker, you have Slardar Blinks, but innately they are not that mobile. We have counter initiation, as Carl mentioned, with Wyvern.
5 seconds.
You know what I love to see?
What?
Voice Spirit.
Ooh, yeah. That's a good one. That's a good one. I love it. Also can completely wreck the PA.
Yeah,
also keep in mind, Lich's Shield, the only safe mechanic that they have right now, is actually only reducing physical damage. So if Voice Spirit jumps PA in the early game with, like, let's say a haste rune at minute 4 or 6, PA can die, even with the Frost Shield. Even if you see the gank coming, or you call out the haste rune on the Voice Spirit, Earthshaker might just fissure them out of the tower range so they can't get to safety that easily, which could buy enough time for the gank to happen. Okay, so we're expecting Voice Spirit. We get Silencer ban, OD ban. OD Silencer. Okay, they're both good at interrupting fights. Pagna.
Well, magical damage, so I guess it goes, but I would have loved to see some spirit though.
Actually, that is very smart. That's 5-head. That's 5-head. You know why? I mentioned that the PA is gonna have a rough time due to like high armor Slardar and the Winter Wyvern countering with 2 abilities. So the PA requires a late game, like really, really late game. And the Pugna, of course, can pressure very hard without any items.
Yeah, true that also not just early fighters are picked for it, but pusher heroes, so yeah, to put a lot of pressure.
Also player on Chicken Farmer's team, Smante, he's the mid laner, by the way, and he almost beat me in lane as Pugna. I played Puck.
So you think is that a bit of a comfort hero for him?
Oh yeah, he's gold tier. I helped him like unlearn some misconceptions that he developed, which is very common in like low rank pubs, because like it's kind of the reason that people get hard stuck. These misconceptions that you might develop, which are hard to notice, because well, you always have an opinion about something, like this item is nice, this ability is nice, this skill build is nice, whatever. And then you try it out in the game and it worked and you think it's good. But maybe it's pretty bad and you just had like a really specific game, or maybe your enemies fucked up even harder than you. So you learn some things wrong in lower ranks. So I helped him in a 90-minute session, helped him unlearn that. Some stuff about the laning phase at least, some stuff about the skill build. I helped him with the item build. I helped him with what to do if you lose the lane. So even if he has a rough start, he's probably gonna be able to come back nicely.
Oh, Spirit.
Well, it's
Yeah.
something.
I love it.
Take your pick.
So very good pick.
I would
Okay, so
also love to see some sort of split maybe, but this is good Ember split.
There's a lot of synergy in the team FeelsGoodMan. Like Grimstalk is amazing in lane with Mars, right? Later with the PA, give him X-Well, he blinks in and bam, free Abyssal Blade, AoE. Damn. And of course we get the Lich ultimate into Soulbind.
on the whole, guys, what do you think about these two drafts? For, if you had to pick a team, yeah.
I'd pick Radiant.
Chicken Farmers, yeah.
You prefer the chicken
Radiant,
farmers?
yeah.
Yeah, Chicken Farm.
Well, I'm biased, it's my team, I coached them. But, I mean, I like both drafts, right? It's maybe like a 55-45 scenario. But I feel like the PA pick was a little bit, how do you say, not cautious enough, right? It
Yeah.
was instantly massively countered by the Winter Wyvern and the Pugna, by the way. Decrepify, Cold Embrace, Winter's Curse. Ugh, yikes.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna have to get like Argonap Scepter to smoke himself like all the time, and gonna try to maybe pick off the Winter Wyvern before he can do anything. And
Yeah,
for that,
usually,
I just think. Yep, sorry, go.
yeah, usually you want something that could be like a slaughter, like some armor reduction, so she can one-shot enemies.
Yeah. So, PA cannot play the fights normally. At all, whatsoever. There's too much counter. Especially before he has a BKB, and Juggernaut can get like a second, third, fourth, whatever item BKB. Sorry, MKB. To just directly massively counter the PA as well. So PA is gonna need an Abyssal Blade and maybe Argonams to like pick off the Wyvern, pick off the Pugna, pick off the Shaker maybe. I think that's the only actual game plan that PA could have.
Okay, we've had our thoughts from the coaching panel here. They're favouring the chicken farmers. I'm sure we'll have a prediction come up on Twitch soon, so if you're watching, you can take part there. And we'll pass you across to Z, who will take you through this game.
Thanks, Ibbsi. Oh, a pause right off the bat. All right, guys, game 1, Chicken Farmers versus FeelsGoodMan. Uh-oh, black screen. Well, while they sort out their technical issues, to go on further about what the coaching panel was talking about, they're right. PA's game is going to be a bit difficult because Pugna and Winter Wyvern can make her life quite hard. So what I expect to see is that PA is going to have to farm for quite a while till she gets her items, and particularly she needs her BKB to have an easier time in these fights. Even when she gets her BKB, could have some issues because Wyvern ult pierces it, so you can still use.
Maybe got some audio difficulties. Z, can you hear us at all?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's
yeah,
the...
sorry, yeah, I just couldn't hear you there. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the game? How do you feel about the two drafts?
Oh, can I not be heard on the stream?
No, you're muted on Discord.
Sounds like studio. Okay, it looks like it's good now. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. First game, we're still working out all the issues. Thanks for bearing with us. So actually, we have a smoke. Now this is a good lineup for a first blood attempt. Ink Swell, really powerful, and they're gonna find this Pugna kill right off the bat. Ooh, and it goes to the mid laner. Now that's gonna feel great because Pugna is the other mid laner, so Ember Spirit already gonna have an advantage in terms of a little bit of gold. Doesn't mean he's won the lane, of course, but sometimes having a small item can change the lane, and they might even get a second kill here going on the Earth Shaker. He's under the tower now, though, and I don't think they'll chase any further. Commits the ward to try to get him. Oh, the last auto attack from Lich. A great start for FeelsGoodMan. Now this ward should get removed. Earthshaker already pings it, but for a second kill to set up your lane, it's going to feel pretty good. And they've decided to actually try lane in this top half. This could be pretty scary. Frost Blast plus Ink Swell is almost guaranteed to make sure Ink Swell goes off. And against a double melee lane, I'm wrong. They've decided to send Lich back to bottom. Could have been scary, though. But it looks like they're going to opt for a bit more of a normal lane, which can be safer. Tri-laning can be easy to mess up, guys. Because you dedicate 3 heroes, the game plan is you have to shut out the enemy team. And if you don't do that, it becomes awkward because you have 3 heroes splitting XP. So it can be very difficult to run, needs a lot of practice. And so sometimes just doing the old 2v2 is a little safer. Wyvern in a bit of trouble here, and maybe it's Lich now. He may have gone out a little too far. The Jug's just going to back off with the spin, play it safe. In the mid lane, despite having the first blood, looks like the lane is still going relatively even right now. Pugna is a ranged hero, so he always has a particularly long-ranged hero as well. So against a melee hero, he'll usually still be able to do what he wants. But Ember is a unique melee hero in that he's got Sleight of Fist and some magic damage shield, which lets him play against some of these long-ranged magic mids that other melee heroes really struggle against. It looks like laning is just kind of going right now. And honestly, I expect that a bit. I mentioned earlier, I think PA needs her BKB to really get going, but the rest of her team could have a pretty nice timing, especially around these supports. We're going to try to keep an eye on them. When Grimstroke has Soulbind and Lich has Chain Frost, that is an incredibly powerful combo. And what they should look to do is pretty much make a play every time both supports have their ults. Because in the early game, when no one has BKBs, double Chain Frost is almost a guaranteed one fight. Now they do have a Juggernaut who happens to have Blade Fury, which gives him spell immunity. And so that's great for him. He'll survive. But if he is in the fight and he has some teammates nearby, his team probably not going to survive that fight. So that is what I think the FeelsGoodMan team should be looking for. They'll make a lot of space with the support combo. Of course, you have Arena to further trap people, and then Ember, a mid who can be pretty active in the early game. And I want to see them make space for their PA. If they can do that, then I think they'll have a pretty solid shot at winning. And so on the other side of that, Chicken Farmers, we mentioned that in a full team fight, they have a lot of control for PA. But if they get Soulbind, double Chain Frosted, that could be an issue. So they're going to need to try to pick off some of the supports before any team fight breaks out. Having said that, they have some strong team fight of their own between the Wyvern ult and the Echo Slam, and then the BKB Piercing Bash from Slardar and Wyvern ult. So it'll come down to execution in these team fights, even though I am a big fan of the Soulbind Chain Frost combo. Looks like they're going on the PA here a little bit, but I think she'll be fine. Inkswell. Actually, I thought it might be used to get away, but they're going to turn on the Slardar a little bit. Going to stun the PA, but she has her blink. Now maybe she's gone too far. A bash coming out. Looks like Slardar's on the run here. Going to have his salve canceled. This is extremely close. There's a lot of creeps for the Radiant, and they're actually going to find the PA kill and possibly the Grimstroke. He's going to pop his own salve, but fortunately the creeps don't break it. And while that was going on, looks like Lich died in the bottom lane. As a support player, feels bad to see your carry die, but then you get a lot of solo XP. Feels kind of good for the Grimstroke, especially thinking back to what we said, he wants his level 6 timing. And so even if PA has a bit of a rough lane, if you have a good timing on the level 6s of your supports, I think you can recover. So I wouldn't feel too bad about the PA dying there if I'm this Grimstroke.
Arms for the dead.
Looks like the bounty rune's going to be split. Looks like 50-50, 2 for each team. Ember falling a little behind the Pugna, but not too big of a deal. Both of these heroes can be pretty active, and right now they're both at 5, pretty close to 6 on both heroes. And let's see if they start to be a little active then. Ember with his ultimate gives him a lot more mobility, and then the Pugna with his own ultimate gives him a lot more kill potential. And without this ultimate, it's pretty hard for him to actually get a kill with just Decrepify and Nether Blast. Now both mids are 6. Let's see if they get anywhere with that. Lich died in the bottom lane while I was talking about the mid heroes. It is a bit of a scary combo. You've got 2 slows from the Winter Wyvern with a spin right on top. Lich does have boots, but is going to be slower when he is affected by all these slows. looks like he just gets run down there, and because Spin makes him spell immune, Mars can't really do anything to save his buddy. Check out net worth real quick. Both carries. It's actually a relatively even game on all fronts. So it looks like it really will come down to execution, as everyone is approaching their 6s. So the mids have their ultimates, both side lanes. The cores are starting to get there in the next 4 minutes. Hopefully everyone has 6. That's usually a good marker for supports. If you're level 6, around the 10-minute mark, that usually feels pretty good. I think we're going to see Lich die here. I think that fear may have put him out of position. Trying to juke around this little crystal rock here, but the slows and the spin going to secure the kill. Mars tried to get a return kill on the Wyvern in that time, but she was too close to the tower. She's going to get away. Looks like in the mid lane, Ember almost died to the Pugna, but is going to get out. Pugna starting to win this lane with this pressure. I kind of think that maybe he should be blasting this tower a little bit. But he's going to opt for farm. Oh, he's going to get a Possessed Mask for his trouble. That is a great item for the carries. After Iron Talon got removed, this is kind of the new... This is the new neutral item that the carry's going to ping you the second you pick it up. They're going to tell you, that is my item. They're going to report you if you don't give it to them. So, looks like Pugna immediately sends it home. I imagine Jug will pick it up. I'd be surprised if anyone else took it. At the bottom lane, talking about mid laners getting active, he came bottom, but it's really tough to kill a Juggernaut. They don't have the most instant disables. That they have a root from the Ember Spirit. That's pretty good, but Juggernaut can just spin out of that. The Lich has to walk kind of close to use his fear, and then the Spear, you can kind of see it coming, so it is a little tough to kill a Juggernaut at this point. And he even has his ultimate now. May not have enough mana quite yet for it, but you do have to be worried about that you dive the Juggernaut. Then he ults, and then it turns out you feed instead of getting the kill. Pugna, picking up the mid tower, gonna find himself an Invis rune too. And I don't expect this to go anywhere. He's safe under his tower, but we may see him use this Invis rune. Okay, let's see. He did use... I thought he'd hold on to it a little longer, but he has gone Invis, and we'll see if he makes his way anywhere, or if he's just gonna farm, use his bottle up. Looks like that is what he wants to do. And that's fine. Pugnas tend to farm up one item before getting really active. The fact that he got the mid tower fairly early, that's already contributing to your team. 2k lead towards Chicken Farmers. With that tower, the tower not quite 1k, but it is a nice chunk for your team. Pugna going on the Ember Spirit, but Ember with his high mobility should be alright. Is a little low. But as long as he has mana, which actually he's a little low on it, but as long as you have enough mana for Remnant, you're usually safe. Once again, we see PA getting gone on, but then they try to turn around with the Inkswell. Fortunately, Slardar and Earthshaker, very tanky heroes. I think it'll be tough to kill with just the PA and Grimstroke, unless they whittle them down ahead of time. So, for example, if they went on Slardar, well, before he used the salve, then that's possible because Slardar is half dead. But from full health, these guys are over 1,000 on the Slardar. Earthshaker near 900. It's pretty tough. Unless PA gets some lucky crits, which I guess is what you're always hoping for if you're playing PA. A lot of creeps up here pressuring this tower. Grimstroke good at defending this usually, but with so many heroes, they might just dive him. Looks like Lich falls again in the bottom lane. Looks like to Blade Fury. Against Juggernaut, as a support, you really do have to watch your positioning. You gotta watch it yourself, because clearly I missed it. The mid lane gonna get defended by the Earthshaker. He's gonna love that. He's gonna get some farm on his own, which is what Earthshakers want. They want to work on their Blink Dagger. Looks like Earthshaker halfway there. We can switch over to the net worth. A 3k advantage, starting to lean towards Chicken Farmers. And a lot of that comes from these towers. This is what you want to do with a Pugna, is to start pressuring towers. And this is going to start restricting the map for the Dire. If we take a look at Radiant's Vision, they have all of their towers. They see a nice half of the map. And right now, the Dire, because they have some wards, they can see a little further out, but they have to use wards. And without them, their map would look a lot scarier. Once you lose towers, it does affect your wards. A mid attempt here. I'm not sure who's going to die. Looks like Ember's actually going to get the kill on Pugna. Wyvern's going to try to commit ult. Earthshaker tried to chain stun. I'm not sure if they would have had damage anyways. Unfortunately, he does get away. That's pretty good. Pugna was leading a lot of this tempo, had a decent net worth, so Ember getting that kill is going to help to buy them a bit of time while Pugna's dead and get Ember a little bit closer to his Desolator, it looks like. No, just kidding. It is the Maelstrom. I kind of would have liked... Well, I guess PA will probably go for the Deso, but I think it would have been cool to see a Deso on the Ember to help amplify up this PA. In the bottom lane, looks like they kill the Mars in the meantime. He committed Arena, unfortunately, which means they can't really fight when he's up. Now, if we lose all T3 or Tier 1 towers without getting any yourself, it feels really bad. So they kind of want to defend this, but I'm not sure if they're in a position where they can, especially without Arena. They're going to buy a bit more time. Pugna's not actually here. Pugna's the one that takes the towers, and they're actually going to get a Wyvern kill from that. In the top lane, they're going on the Pugna, speaking of him, and they're going to find it. Now, that's kind of uncommon. PA, all physical damage. Pugna usually very safe against that. Ember finding another kill on the Earthshaker down here. In the meantime, they're thinking about diving this Juggernaut. This could be a little scary. He doesn't have his ultimate, but he does have Blade Fury, which negates a lot of the magic damage from this Ember Spirit. Now, this is pretty good. We were saying that you'd be worried about losing this tower without taking any, but they've successfully defended it, and they're actually pressuring the enemy safe lane tower. Pretty good turn of events. I don't think they're going to be able to get it right now, though. This tower is pretty full health. Gonna commit Chain Frost on here. Spear on the Wyvern. Ember gonna pick up that kill. He's got Sleight of Fist maxed out. It does a nice chunk of damage. Earthshaker kind of coming up for this Lich. Actually commits the Echo and almost kills the Ember Spirit and the Lich off of the Echoes. Mars gonna use Arena to keep Pugna back. Lich and Ember gonna limp out of there. Ember playing it very risky, wants to hit the Earthshaker one more time. Mars gonna fall. Oh, Ember Spirit, just enough to survive a fissure as well. Ember Spirit gonna be happy to survive there. He'll happily trade his Mars to get away alive. Mars may not feel the same, but Ember, having picked up a couple kills and now escaping with his life, he's gonna feel great. A PA on her way to her Battle Fury. Looks like she'll have it at around the 16-minute mark. Not bad at all, considering she also picked up Phase and a Wraith Band. On the other hand, Juggernaut gonna get his Battle Fury a little sooner. He is doing a little bit better, picking up several kills on the Lich. But these timings aren't too far apart, so I don't think either team will feel too bad right now. They're not going to know the exact difference. 2K at 14 minutes is still manageable. You know, you don't want to be 2K behind, but you're certainly not out of the game. Now, on the Dire side, Chain Frost 15 seconds off of cooldown, and we have Soulbind. So I'd love to see them try to make a play around this. Mars Arena, also about 10 seconds off. So Mars looks like he's pushing mid right now, gonna grab the Arcane Rune, and I'd love to see him make his way down here, especially with Pugna actually TPing out to go defend mid. This is a great chance to force bottom tower and take it. If the enemy defends, you use all your ultimates, and you win the fight, is really how it should go. A Soulbind, double Chain Frost, Arena, it should be extremely difficult to fight that right now. We do have 4 Dire heroes down here. Wyvern TPing in. A good Wyvern ult could make this push a little scary. Support's going in. There's the Soulbind. There's the Chain Frost. There's the second Chain Frost. Look at that. An easy double kill. Even commits Arena. You know what? I'm okay with that because we're going to get the tower off of that. And they really needed this. Lich TPing mid to defend from Pugna. Don't want to lose this tier 2. And PA still farming in this time. This is exactly what you want to do. Let PA just have space. Now this helps a lot because if we check their vision again, you see that now they've lost this chunk of the map down here. And the Dire still have their tower here, so they actually feel comfortable playing in this area. It makes the game much more playable because your map kind of looks like this. Instead of, why was that so thick? I don't know why. Instead of very restricted when you lose all your tier 1s and don't get any tier 1s yourself. They've closed the net worth lead as well, so it is still a very even game. Right now, the Dire can just relax a little bit because they use their ultimates. They don't quite want to go right now. But actually, the Radiant should use this opportunity to go because they don't have the Chain Frost, the Soulbind. They only have 20 seconds at this point, so maybe they can't do anything anymore. But the next time the Dire uses that combo and probably wins a fight with it, well, after that, you want the Radiant to go look for a kill. Now, they might actually find a pickup on the Lich right now. Stun not being committed. Lich was a little too fast. Netherblast gonna finish the kill on the Lich anyways. So now they do have their ults, but Lich is dead. So this could be another good time to start pushing a little bit. Battle Fury finish. Gonna go for the MKB second. He's picking that up to deal with the evasion from the PA. Earthshaker looks like he has his blink on the courier, and he's picking up a smoke as well. This could be a turning point for the game. A smoke blink reveal could be a great team fight, and then you hopefully take an objective off of that. They could even do Roshan at this point because they have a Slardar. However, Soulbind and Chain Frost are up. So it could really come down to who sees who and how this next fight turns out. That could decide the momentum for the rest of the game. Arena being committed here. Spear gonna miss. Mars gonna fall pretty quickly. And I don't think they even use the smoke or the blink on the Earthshaker. So they should look to keep going here. This tier 2 tower is full health, so it'll probably take a little bit to actually kill it. They could, if they wanted to, attempt Roshan. It is still scary, even though there's no arena. There is that Soulbind Chain Frost combo we were talking about. They're actually going to go on the PA. She's going to blink away for now. Ember coming in. Jug trying to look for the ultimate, I imagine. A huge Echo Slam, deleting Ember right away. Grimstroke dying as well. The Chain Frost is going to come out, though. Going to get themselves a kill. A bit of a overlap in spells. Decrepify saving him for a little bit, but he is going to fall. So it looks like Chicken Farmers are going to win out on that big Echo blink. That was a great ult from the Earthshaker. I actually think this would be a great time to do Roshan. They're going to opt for the tier 2. In other games, you probably couldn't get this tier 2 quite yet. But with a Pugna, you do have a Pugna with Arcane Rune. Very fortunate. That means he's going to be able to pump out Nether Blast. But even then, actually, you see, this tower survives. So, yeah, it's nice. The next time you push up here, you'll probably get this. But technically, winning that fight didn't quite get you anything because you didn't get the tower. I know you get the gold from the team fight, which, that's great. But actually, picking up Roshan instead with the Slardar, that sets you up for the next 5 minutes. That's a huge advantage. Now, we're going to smoke again. We don't have Echo, but we do have 2 blinks. We could chain stun someone for the Pugna. It looks like we're going to find the Grimstroke. We do have Dagon on Pugna, so that's going to get a little scary for the PA. She's going for the Dessa, which means BKB isn't going to come up till probably post 25 minutes. And that might leave a window where Pugna picks up some easy kills with a Decrepify Dagon ult combo. We'll see how that plays out. Dire has all their ults again. Echo still on cooldown for a little bit longer. I feel like Dire could be looking to make a play with it. Make a play with the combo we've talked about so much. But it's kind of what they drafted, so it's hard to not talk about it. It's kind of why you pick Grimstroke and Lich. Ember getting a little close to falling, getting to use 2 remnants to get away, but Wyvern gonna ult to finish this kill, and they're gonna grab the Ember there. Absolutely worth it to use Wyvern's Winter's Curse. Many people will feel like when you have a big team ultimate like Black Hole, Chronosphere, Winter's Curse, it can be really scary. Like, you feel you need to only use it on a group fight, but getting a big kill on an Ember is worth it as well, depending on how the game's going. And in this case, I think it's great. They're going to find a double damage. Slardar's over here. They've got Winter Wyvern's Cold Embrace to tank Roshan, and they're going to pick up Rosh here. The Dire are peeking their head in. Not sure if they want to do this. They are going to come in after Aegis falls. I'm not sure you want to commit at that point. And the order was a little awkward. Mars can go in first, but then Grimstroke actually needs to go in next so that he can Soulbind right before Lich uses his ult. So you need to consider the positioning a little bit like there to make sure your spells go off in the correct order. But the Radiant's going to get a lot of momentum off of this. They picked up Aegis and 2 kills. I don't have the Jug ult anymore. You actually find, with this ward, they find the PA and Grimstroke. PA is going to get away by blinking to her team, but this Grimstroke should fall. Another Dagon kill for the Pugna. This tower they weakened earlier should fall here. Lich is TPing in. I don't want him to use his ult here, actually, though. Without the Soulbind, it's going to feel bad because it's going to put the ults off a separate cooldown. Echo Slam from Earthshaker. Not as many creeps this time, so Ember is going to get out, but they are going to pick up the Lich kill. Wyvern and Earthshaker fall for it, though. They didn't need to quite dive that hard, I think, for the Radiant. I think you just want Pugna to hit that tower, try to find the kill. Juggernaut might be in a little bit of trouble here. He's going to try to TP away. This is a little scary. He is going to fall. He does have Aegis. They pick up the Ember kill in return, and they might go on this PA here. Blink from Slardar. PA buying a little bit of time with Blink. They're trapped in Mars Arena and the Soulbind for a little longer, so PA is going to get out. At this point, we have an 8k lead for the Radiant. Well, Slardar wants even a little bit more. Goes for the stun. Barely misses. I thought that actually hit. Looks like the uphill is always a little confusing. It changes the way the positioning works or looks. So Grimstroke gonna get out with his life. This tier 2 tower gonna fall, and I expect, if we take a look at their vision, they're feeling good. They see a lot of the map with these towers down. You can see when the creeps push up, they see so much of the map. The only chunk they're missing now is this bottom lane, so I expect them to just play in this area here for a while. And on the Dire side, you can see how they're going to feel really restricted right now. Yes, you have this bottom lane, but it's not that, it doesn't feel that great. The off lane is often considered the least important in terms of defending your towers. Your mid and your safe lane, look how far in it is pressed. Now they need all their heroes to come into their own jungle because otherwise they don't feel safe. What that means for the Radiant, though, is that they're probably going to get this tower completely uncontested, maybe even the next tower as well. Dire has decided this might be our chance to try to take the mid tier 1. And honestly, I don't mind it. Trading the mid tier 1 for the offlane tier 1, probably worth it. They are going to TP to try to defend. Ember should be okay. Remnanting away. Slardar's here, going to look for a blink. Barely misses on the Mars. PA has a double damage. You may not want to fight this right now. Looking a little scary. Mars going to get a nice arena. Spears the Pugna, gonna die immediately. Jug does get his ult off, gonna pick off Mars and Ember Spirit. PA with a double damage. A little torn on who to hit. Lich gonna, oh, maybe he actually survives in the backline. Echo committed for the Lich. PA now gonna be blinked on and stunned. She has the double damage, but you saw her having trouble picking who to fight. She wanted to go in a little deep here, but then her team's fighting back here. It ended up being a little awkward, and she wasn't able to just hit a single hero kind of the way she wants to. Now Grimstroke gonna fall as well. Gonna end up complete team wipe. He did pick up the Pugna. Now, fortunately, the creep wave did die in that fight, so by the time the creep wave gets here, a couple heroes should be up. I don't think they'll be able to get barracks here, but of course that team fight is still great for them. Juggernaut starting to really pull away from the PA, working on his Aghanims. Actually, I think it's on its way. I think he finished the whole thing. That's going to be pretty scary. This tower's going to be fine. Took a bit of damage. A Jug ult, 70 seconds. So right now, they kind of just want to wait for their ultimates. I think they are, well, I don't even just think. It is clearly 12k in their advantage. So really, you just want to kind of play in a standard way. Take safe fights. You don't need to do anything crazy. Winter Wyvern might be in a bit of trouble here. Glimmer going to save her for a little bit. Now, PA is chasing kind of far for this. They are undecided. I think you don't want to risk that. It looks like we're going to separate again, have a bit of a breather. Now, like I was saying, because they're 12k up, at this point, you don't care so much about the Soulbind combo. you care a little bit. But with Slardar close to his BKB, Jug already wasn't too worried about that combo. It's starting to feel better to fight, especially with your own big team fights. Earlier we said, you know, it really could come down to the execution. Now it needs to come down to execution for the Dire, but they also kind of need to find not the full enemy team because they're 12k behind. You need to, for example, find a fight when Juggernaut's not there because he is the highest net worth hero, and then you have a shot at that fight, 5 versus 4. They've actually smoked up, running into the enemy triangle. They might find... Oh, they don't know the Ember's there. Smoke didn't break. Ember's going to be walking away. They're going to see... No one, actually. They're going to see Mars in this bottom lane. They're going to go for this Mars kill. I can't imagine how this Mars get out of here alive. Taggin going to delete half of his health right off the bat, and the rest of the spell is going to finish it up. Looks like they're just going to march down here, pick up this tier 2 tower, and they don't quite need to go for the high ground if they don't want to. They could just play a little cautiously, wait for Aegis, and with that second Aegis and cheese, almost for sure they would win a high ground fight there, especially if you just let Pugna slowly chip it down with his ult, or with his Nether Blast. The Dire is going to use this opportunity to pick up some tier 1 towers, and they kind of need to. They can't quite fight head-on outside of the base. But now, especially with Juggernaut back here, if the Dire all TP'd back, they could look for a fight here. Juggernaut is kind of a fast hero. Looks like he is already starting to run back. But Ember could get here sooner. And looks like Radiant recognizes this and is going to back off. Smart play. Because if you take a 5v4 here, you could start to throw your lead. And then, oh, Roshan spawns, the Dire gets it, and, you know, you've just made the game harder for yourself. And you don't really need to do that when you are so far in the lead right now. And we check out the vision here. I feel that Radiant wants to secure this top part of the map. I don't know what's going on with the the drawing like that. But yeah, it's in that area. This little spider web I've drawn. This is where you want your vision because you want to secure Roshan when it comes up. And in the same way, you want to make Dire feel extremely scared to walk in here. Right now, they have no vision here. It's terrifying. So you want to maintain this vision advantage until Roshan is up. Then you secure Roshan, and you use that to try to close out the game. Both teams just standing apart from each other. Another smoke. They might find this Mars here again. Mars going to blink away, actually. With the vision from earlier, they're going to find a support. Missed the initial stun. Fissure going to block off the supports for a little bit. Grimstroke trying to get away. He is slowed by the Decrepify. I think he'll fall here, but actually maybe not. He's barely going to get out with his life. That's okay. The Radiant tried to find a kill with the smoke and the vision advantage. Didn't work out. It's okay. They just relax now, back off, continue to wait for Roshan. Looks like it is a bit of a long Roshan spawn this time. That's good for the Dire. Gives them more time to try. It's going to be hard to catch up in gold, but you can at least try to maintain the gold difference. Because being 10k behind at 20 minutes is really rough. Being 10k behind at 40 minutes, it starts to mean less and less. So as long as they don't fall further and further behind, it's not too bad. They're going to go for their own smoke. It's tough. They don't see anything. They're going to be doing this blind at night, which is tough because smoke breaks at a longer distance than you can see at night. They are going to find the Wyvern kill, but they've kind of grouped up, and a big Echo Slam is going to be, I think, their downfall in this fight. Juggernaut using Quick Slash, and now his ultimate, or reverse that, ultimate into Quick Slash. Yeah, that can be what happens when you smoke at night without too much vision, especially when the other enemy team has a pretty big lead. They might find this Grimstroke. Looks like he's going to get away. Blink on the Lich. He's going to fall here. Tried to buy time for his Grimstroke, but actually pays the price instead. Now, there are no creeps here. I'm not sure they have enough damage to go through back door. They are going to get a buyback from Mars, and they're going to ping Roshan, and a double damage has spawned. This seems a little unfair. Gaben seems to have a favorite team here because with this Jug double damage and the Slardar, this Roshan is going to melt. Hey, look at that. Let's check this out. Let's see how quickly this falls. Look at him go. With this Aegis and Cheese, it's going to jump to about, well, we'll see it right here. 16k advantage. I'm probably not going to be able to make use of this, the rest of this double damage. Sometimes you can find a fight right after, but the Dire is playing it safe right now, staying in their base. Doesn't really matter. You don't quite need the double damage at this point in the game. So, even though Jug has Aegis, who do you want to hit this tower? What I'd love to see from them is that they push the lanes in, and they just let Pugna blast it. If you really want, Juggernaut can run up, use spin to hit it, but I think it's just a little bit riskier than just letting Pugna keep throwing out Nether Blasts. There's very little risk in that, and if the enemy team tries to jump the Pugna, well, guess what? You've got a Wyvern ult and an Echo Slam. Still on cooldown right now, but when it's up, hopefully when they push. And if you bring out 3 heroes to jump the Pugna, which is about how many you need to actually kill the Pugna when you're this far behind, you're going to set yourself up for a big combo. Slardar using his BKB to get away safely. They may want to wait for that before pushing high ground now, actually. They're probably in the lead enough where they don't quite have to. But I think if they want to play it safe, they could, and I wouldn't blame them. Dire just trapped in their base. At this point, if you're the Dire, you may know your chances of winning are quite low, but you still play it out because the enemy can make a mistake. And it's good to give it a shot until you at least lose high ground. But with his Jug finding the kill on the PA and then ulting to find a Grimstroke kill, Grimstroke is going to buy back. Slardar, Cheese is in pretty deep 1v4. I don't think he's going to die for it, though. Without the PA, I don't think they can fight. PA was their most farmed hero, and you're kind of hoping on some lucky PA bashes, or not bashes, crits to win a fight. Without her, probably just lose this set of racks, but the game's not fully over from there. You still have another set, so I think you want to wait for that, but this is exactly kind of what you don't quite want to happen, where a support dies, and then now when PA is up, you're missing some of your spells and some of your heroes. And this might actually snowball into a loss now, for sure. Whereas before, they may have just lost 1 racks. Maybe they still lose the game. But now with all these other death timers, PA is about to be up, but now you still have to wait another 50 seconds after that for the Mars. Radiant going to... Looks like they're just going to go for more barracks. A very safe approach. If they wanted to, they might be able to end before the other heroes are up. But Jug's crit and Slardar's bashes, these kind of things don't work on buildings. So he's also built items that are good at killing PA and heroes, but also not the best at killing buildings. So maybe just going for the megas is the safe play here. It's what this team's decided on. And I'm totally fine with it. PA's up. 20 seconds on Mars. Maybe they can fight for this last set. I think it's going to fall before Mars is even up, though. Frost Shield going to buy a little bit more time. Ember trying to throw in a couple spells as well. But Mars is up as the barracks falls. That is Mega Creeps. A nice crit on the Jug. They might find a Jug kill here, but he does have Aegis. PA BKB, let's see what she can get done in this time, but uh-oh, there's the counter the coaches were talking about at the start, where you just get ulted when you BKB and your life becomes difficult. She actually survives a little longer to blink back to her eventual death here. Grimstroke trying to get away with the Glimmer Invis, but I think the game is done here. These amount of death times, all 5 still alive. They can finish this up here. So Chicken Farmers, I can respect it. Fight till the end, the Ancient Falls. It is the name of the game after all. But unfortunately, despite a great attitude, Chicken Farmers is going to close us out. Now this kind of mentality is still good though, guys, because something different from your pub games that the coaching panel can talk about here as we pass by, because I think it's about to end, But this is a best of 3, which means you have to play the next game. And if you just get tilted about this loss, it's going to be hard to play the next game. But looks like they still have a nice mentality going here. And I'm hopeful that they can try to address some of the issues in this game. But I'll let the coaching panel talk about that. So I'm going to switch it back to them. Transitioning now.
Are we back?
Yep, we're back.
Oh, here we are. Yeah, thanks so much, C, for taking us through that. I'm back here with Keo and Carl. Guys, what were your thoughts? Did that sort of go the way you thought it was going to, or talk us through that one?
So I'm gonna start. That's okay. So I wrote a lot of things here. So basically, well, the chicken farmers did win, as we predicted before, and I saw some weird things, but I really liked this game. In all, I can say the details, but Keo, you can also share your opinion overall first.
Lally, I'm so happy my team did it.
Keo,
the pressure as a coach to beat. Yeah, sorry.
Can I just remind you need to give an unbiased opinion just now?
Okay. I mean, well, let's be honest. It was a textbook performance in terms of map movements and shot calling. So I really liked that they pushed the top lane tower at a minute 10 with the catapult with Pagna, right? But then they went a bit too greedy, I would say, didn't they? Like they tried to go for, they got mid, they got top, and then they went bottom as well, just a little bit too much. You want to focus on 2 out of 3 lanes. So they got punished for it, but then they adjusted, so that was beautiful. I really like the smoke play at the end from Team Dire. It is risky, but that's kind of the only thing they can do. It's pretty neat that they found it with the Wyvern. But yeah, perfect Echo Slam, counter initiation. Beautiful.
So you think that taking those towers early with the Pugna, that really took the game away?
Absolutely,
from FeelsGoodMan?
Absolutely. That started the tempo, started choking up Phantom Assassin's map control. And as I mentioned, Phantom Assassin is countered by the Pugna, Wyvern, and kind of Juggernaut starter. It's not an easy PA game, but usually as a carry, if you have rough matchups, you can just itemize it for it. But you gotta get to this itemization critical mass moment, let's say. But it's like in this like it's a bit of an extreme case, right? It's a really hard counter. So we gotta get to like the 4th item, I would say. Maybe the 3rd is enough. But getting there before Juggernaut, that's difficult.
Well, we did see that the Juggernaut farm was ahead of PA even sort of at an early stage.
Right.
I think the Jug. I think I'm right in saying the Jug picked up a Battle Fury before PA.
Yeah. I do believe so. Yeah. Also, the MKB 2nd item, beautiful.
And for FeelsGoodMan, if they can really take something away from that, after those 2 tier 1s fall, what could they have done differently at that stage to stop the games of snowballing?
For Team Dire, well, you gotta try to equalize. First of all, honestly, you need like so what we see with the pro teams, especially in the past 6 months or so, I've seen it in DPC a lot, is they do defend the mid lane tier 1 with 5 heroes. Even if you play a farming greedy carry, you gotta be there. Especially against like pushing lineups, you gotta hold this mid lane tower for as long as possible. There's usually not much you can do about a safe lane tower, but mid lane, you gotta hold it better. Anyways, if it does fall for whatever reason, let's say you lose the defense, which is a little unlikely, you can usually hold it for at least a few minutes, creating a bit more time and space for the defense, for the carry in general to farm. Okay, but let's say you do lose it. I would say your game plan is to try and avoid the enemy team as much as possible. No team fighting whatsoever. You try to itemize for defensive items. So let's assume I'm the Ember Spirit and I lost the lane, I lost my towers, my team is losing, enemies have 10 more kills, 5k more net worth. I'm 20 minutes into game, I have no items, but let's say I'm going for a Yule Scepter on Ember Spirit over Maelstrom. Because there's not really much room for greed. If I buy greedy or aggressive items, that's not gonna work. I gotta get defense. so that I can hold and extend the game for my carry to eventually outscale. So what you want to do is you split push a lot. Split pushing, by the way, I feel like some people understand it wrong. Split pushing really means splitting up the map, because let's say 5 enemies run down mid lane. Well, towers are pretty tanky. The tier 2 towers have never been tankier ever in any patch. I know they didn't get changed recently, but about a year ago and 2 years ago, they kept getting buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed. Loads of armor buffs. The HP went up from 1600 to 2500 on the tier 2 towers. So you can actually just let them fall. Like, the enemies are not farming for a minute or 2 or 3 minutes. And if you farm during that, you actually get more gold, more XP. Because you're also splitting up your heroes on... Okay, so let's say enemies run down mid lane, you run down bottom, you run down top. ASAP.
There was a point we did see chicken farmers, they were trying to take that mid tier 2, and FeelsGoodMan were able to defend at that stage. After they've had that successful defense, you saying that at that point they should have pushed both sides?
Absolutely. But I really love that the chicken farmers respected the respawns, and they just went away of the mid lane tower. I wouldn't call it a defense necessarily. I would just say early game respawning issue. So indirect defense, I would say.
Do you think with chicken farmers, were they? I think that they held a 10k gold lead for quite a considerable portion of that game. Were they just being patient, or should they possibly have tried to push home that advantage a bit quicker? Or
No, I like the patience. I like the patience. It's reliable. In pubs you can go crazy, but in team games you want to go safer.
You don't think that could have potentially, if they keep being patient, that it couldn't have potentially left a point for FeelsGoodMan to get into it? Maybe if they win, FeelsGoodMan won a team fight. At that point, if they haven't pushed that advantage home.
Okay, so during this, when you're just waiting and playing it safe and you have the advantage anyways, you are waiting for something. You are just not waiting because of waiting. You're waiting for like an item. You're waiting for perhaps a level or a talent. But probably you're waiting for Roshan at this point. When we're talking about like tier 2 late mid game stage, you're waiting for Roshan. So I also really liked how the chicken farmers played around Roshan. And again, you can kind of let it to the enemy from like FeelsGoodMan perspective. Just let them take Roshan and just don't fight him for 5 minutes. If they take like a tier 2 or maybe 2 tier 2 towers and like barracks, let them. If they even got 2 lanes of barracks, let them do it. You can't fight them. You're gonna lose the fight. Even defense on high ground. Probably. Unless you have tons of control.
I think one of the things that surprised me at least is chicken farmers, as we mentioned at the start, they are newly formed, while FeelsGoodMan, they've been playing together since Dota 1. But when you mentioned around that there was a Roche fight, it looked like there was some uncertainty there with whether to go in and contest Roche from like FeelsGoodMan. If they had arena ready, but if they didn't go in for it, what do you think?
Well, as Carl mentioned before the game, there's always the risk of Winter Wyvern's curse. So any type of initiation, as long as Winter Wyvern is alive, is pretty risky. So honestly, if you're behind, you wanna just leave them the Roche. Like, let's say you have a Clockwork support in your team. Let's assume that. Sure, this guy is expendable, and he can Rocket Flare and Hookshot in and possibly steal the Aegis. But here, the only real mobility hero that can just jump in is Ember Spirit, and he's not expendable whatsoever. Especially because he did go for the scaling Maelstrom.
They also had a PA. Could PA not have jumped in?
No, she's not expendable.
Oh, okay. That's the point.
Like it's a 1 versus 5, while your other allies are pushing lanes. And also, one more thing about the waiting, when you're just waiting and playing it safe, you want to play in lanes. Even if you just push out one creep wave, that's always going to create a little bit of pressure. Like your creeps get more forward into the enemy territory, which gives you vision. And let's say you push it really far and an enemy teleports to defend the tower to depush, you know the guy doesn't have a teleport. So it's information, it's forcing stuff. Impact farming. Okay. It's impact farming.
And going into the second game with chicken farmers taking that first game win, what do you think we'll expect to see? Or what
similar game plan. Similar game plan.
without giving too much away, because I know obviously you are the coach of chicken farmers, but maybe
well,
from the perspective of FeelsGoodMan, what can they, in general terms, if you maybe give some idea of what they can do differently to stop the game plan of chicken farmers.
For the FeelsGoodMan team, or for the chicken farmers?
So for FeelsGoodMan, after
FeelsGoodMan,
what they can
right?
What can they do to sort of stop that game plan?
Right. As I mentioned, you wanna really defend the middle lane tower as 5, absolutely necessary. Even if you have like half a battlefield on your PA, you gotta try to hold it. Like PA is pretty good at defending over a long time, right? These early game pushes aren't that fast. They do need a bunch of time, and enemies can see it coming with good warding. But especially if it's FeelsGoodMan, they should just if they do lose their tier 1 so fast and they require the late game because the carry is countered, you wanna just split push all the time.
So play
Pick
around
wave clear.
play around the game objectives a bit more.
Yeah, pick wave clear. Like honestly, if the MS player went for boost of Travis into Maelstrom, I would not mind that. Or maybe Travis into the meme hammer. Sure, whatever. Just keeps it pushing non-stop. Even Grimstoke's faded wave clear. Like he should play really aggressive, get Tranquil boost plus a wind lace. Maybe Glimmer Cape really fast. And actually you can make a point for getting what's it called? Not the cloak first, but the part that makes you invisible first. The Shadow Amulet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you get this item first, so that you can actually split push a bit safer. Like if the enemy has to react to a position 4 or 5, split pushing, that's pretty awkward. Because you're using time against the support, which is not your goal. And you even gotta bring detection, which is again a bit of gold, and a bit of maybe you don't have it.
And Carl, I think we're almost ready to move across to the draft. But is there anything you would like to add just before we head across to the draft for game 2?
Naturally, game went mostly as expected. Yeah, they did use the Roche potential very nicely, with the counter initiation and also, yep.
Okay. I think we're about ready to get into the draft for game 2 just now. So we can switch across there and we can see what the teams are going to pick.
Just one more player missing.
Oh, we still got one more.
One more player, and then they'll be good to go. I think he's joining right now. All right, here we go. Game loading in.
Radiant's ban.
So Carl, what do you expect from the chicken farmers drafting? Is it gonna be a TI9 liquid style? We just pick the same stuff all the time because it works, type of thing, or?
Well, how rogue operators can just go. If you got the winning streak, then just go. It's the same shit.
Ooh, Rimstroke ban. They're not allowing the enemy to go for the same stuff.
They don't like the chain plus.
Yeah. It's also good, pretty good against Juggernaut. Like Grimstroke can stand behind trees in the lane and throw the silence. Juggernaut can't react, and perhaps he gets nuked down. Oh, the Pugna ban. the pick that we called the 5-hat pick.
Yeah,
that's a good ban. That's a good ban.
Yeah, they don't want to face it again.
Yeah, honestly, considering how it worked, you could honestly first phase it. If I'm in the Chicken Farmers team. What is Pugna really bad against in laning phase? What do you think? Like, what do you want to ban if you first phase it?
Voice phase. I mean, only speaking with the stun, because he can stop the ult and also has a threat on jumping him.
Ooh, true. Closing the gap, nuking him down. Even if he gets raid and tanks it, you can't livestream.
Fuck is even better.
Silence.
Fuck is really good against Fallen. Yeah, silence and shit. Jump on him.
Oh, Like we as I mentioned earlier, we actually me and Swante and I we actually practiced the Pugna matchup. And what I noticed is Pug, when you're in phase shift, you still get life drained. Like you don't take damage, but it still keeps going. I died.
Yeah.
That's
It's funny.
Ah, there we go. The liquid style. Just go with the same heroes.
I mean,
But we need a replacement for the Pugna. So maybe a Leshrock? Deathstroke? They can push towards?
Yeah, same push.
Yeah. There's a bunch of options.
Lashuk is a bit harder to pull off though. Like you have to go in closer. You cannot stay in big range. You cannot stay in the back line for Lashuk.
Exactly. But one thing they don't have is safe mechanics. Like Pugna can also opt for a support build. Like you can, of course, decrepify your allies. You can give life to your allies. By the way, you can even give mana to your allies with your ultimate. If you heal them and they're full health, they actually get mana really fast because your mana pool is so much higher than theirs.
5 seconds.
Kio's Pugna support guide.
I was about to say, but I didn't want to like advertise my guide. But if you guys need a Pugna support guide and you want an annoying soft support or even hard support, check it out. Or you can even use it if you like lose your lane and just go for support, whatever. It's a pretty cool pick, and there's no guide that has been created in the last 3 or 4 years. Mine is the only one that's updated, and I'm almost at 150,000 subscribers. So you're gonna find it if you just click on the guides. Oh, the starter pick! That is smart. That is smart. Not allowing the slaughter shaker.
Oh, they
It
really
doesn't look like a combo, but it is a combo.
armor reduction combo.
Ooh, okay.
They can pick TA
Save from Omnislash.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, but the armor reduction, you're right, they have so much. Now they have a Roche team.
Yeah, Russian.
So I want to see, they need to ban the Winter Wyvern, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's so much about physical damage. If you don't ban Wyvern now, you're crazy.
What would you do?
I mean, what?
I would, for the FeelsGoodMan on team, I think I'd pick a Troll Warlord, with all this.
Oh my lord, Jesus, yeah.
10 seconds
But to quote BSJ's when he went for the mid lane Juggernaut magical build, and he had like 2 other cores of magical damage. Well, you wanna make sure that you have multiple sources of damage, right? If you only have physical, you're countered by the same items, countered by the same abilities.
Yeah, you can go with a
But
magical.
honestly, this is kind of the case where there's so much armor reduction, you don't go for armor items probably. You just go for like ghost scepters and stuff. Like it's some drafts you guys wanna think about your defense in a way that there are 2 types of defense, right? You can either try to sustain through the damage with like resistance and armor and stuff like that, or like healing, or you can try to dodge the damage. Okay, we do see Ursa Monkey. So again, like similar last game, they want to ban the strong laners. That tells me they want to pick sort of a really beefy offlaner, which a starter could have been. But if I wouldn't know the teams, I would probably expect like an Underlord pick, maybe. Maybe a Mars, maybe Centaur, something like that. Timber, so that's smart. Banning armor hero. Because he could actually get enough armor.
Yeah, I'd like
But need to ban the Wyvern. They need to ban the Wyvern. If they don't ban the Wyvern, they get countered really hard again. They banned the Pugna for that reason. Well, not only that reason. Pugna's also very annoying for push and stuff like that, but
10 seconds to go.
you gotta make sure you don't get massively countered. But it all depends on what cores they pick. Like, you wanna get one core who benefits from the armor reduction right now, but then you get the other core with, like, magic damage. And then probably support magic damage, or, like, support utility. Maybe support initiation like a clockwork. On Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit is really good against Jark, because you have just instant silence.
They could actually just pick the Winter Wyvern also.
Yeah. If you don't want to play against it and you don't want to waste a ban, pick it. Like, it's completely fine. It's also very good against Omnislash. And suddenly Juggernaut has a really hard game against 2 safe mechanics, Cold Embrace, Winter's Curse, and Shallow Grave. Is the name, I do believe. Underlord.
Yeah.
There we go. Of course, they want to pick these beefy guys. Of course, Underdog can also help at split pushing and defending towers, so he's a good guy if you want late game, for all the reasons I mentioned after the first game. Oh, now they're getting a lot of physical damage. That's almost too much. Is it a Venge core? What is this?
I don't think so. It's a core.
I would not have picked a Venge support.
Maybe they want to slaughter Dazzle offlane because of
10
the slow
seconds
and
to
armor
go.
reduction and stuff. I don't know.
Maybe, but the Venge?
Perhaps, but
seconds.
I don't know.
Okay, maybe it's fine. Let's say Venge 5 and they pick like a Kling Sword Rao, which is a pretty good lane combo. Well, depends on what offlaner they play against, but they really have to pick a very, very high magical burst mid lane hero. But if they go for Trower Links, they also need a bit more frontlining. Well, that's not true. They have some safe mechanics, so maybe they can get around frontlining.
Yes, good pick. I like it.
Scenting. Yeah, very smart, very smart. Because he can, like, if he gets a fast blink, he can try to pick off Dazzle or Venge all the time. Maybe pick off that Klingsword Row that I mentioned.
If they wanna pick Winter River, you should do it now.
Wait, what do you think about maybe a Morphlings carry on FeelsGoodMan team? Because Sand King is really shit at level 1, well, before level 4, right? And Morphling Power Spike is level 3, 5, and 7 because of attribute shift. So we can kind of get away with having 2 really weak laners. And Morphling can itemize for physical damage or magical. Ember.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be the Ember mid lane again? Like, he was gold tier, I do believe. But maybe they have 2 comfort heroes, comfort players. Which, if you have that, it's awesome. It's one of the best things you can, actually one of the most necessary things you can have within a team when it comes to drafting. Have players that can play the same hero, so you can really flex pick anything. My team and I used to do that with Tiny. We had a position 4 Tiny, position 3 Tiny, and mid lane Tiny. And later I also tried carry Tiny. I sucked, but it was worth trying. But basically every game at Capital Small we first faced the Tiny. And enemies got no idea how to counterplay it. Okay, Ember Spirit, I do hope he goes for a magical build.
Yeah, me too.
But is it gonna be enough? Like, this screams like we have to get magical damage from like the carry as well. That's kind of why I mentioned the Morphling. Because he can have a really good lane against like Shaker Sand King. That's a super weak lane, by the way, Shaker Sand King. One of the weakest offlane combos I've ever seen in my life. So you can get away with a weak carry, like Morphling. If you guys ever played Morphling mid, it's you die all the time. Level 1, level 2. If you watch pros, they die every game. Okay, sorry? You were saying?
Yeah, usually you pick carries that can buy stage and Yasha. Morphling can buy it, and because there are a lot of stuns as well, so it could work, the Morphling pick. But I'd like to see some Troverlord still, maybe a bit too much.
Is my team cheating? They banned the draw that I mentioned. But then again, draw would be bad right now.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with the ban now that much. But I like the troll ban. You mentioned troll.
Yeah, because it is
Timber.
Slaughter, because Slaughter is gonna be a bit weak on the front line solo because enemy has like Earthshaker and Sand King, which can really good initiator, so you cannot really pick a backliner.
Right, yeah. Also the Wind Ranger, of course, evasion. You don't want to play against evasion necessarily.
10 seconds to go.
If you play a physical lineup. But now the peasant bans are gonna be very interesting. Because it's not easy. Like, honestly, 90% of the heroes would be completely trash. There's only a really specific type of hero or category of heroes that you have to go for. PA ban. Yeah, that's fine. Because
10 seconds to go.
maybe Team Dire, if you comment, they can actually maybe get away with the armor reduction threat because they ban so many counters. But still not a Winter Wyvern. I am surprised. Maybe we get like a mid lane Witch Doctor and the Wyvern support. I have seen that in my team once. He was mastered here, and I almost flamed him. I didn't because I'm trying to be PMA. But he stomped the game, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't even play the game. I was just watching him, backseating him.
10 seconds to go.
Insane.
5 seconds.
I really like the Radiant draft so far. Like they have really good
Yes.
mid-game fighting. It's amazing. And if the Juggernaut, for example, goes a bit less greedy this time, then they can close the game really early. You know, even with the death of a really good pushing. Like I think this can act in 25 minutes.
So this feels like Team FeelsGoodMan is a little bit too worried about protecting their threat
10 seconds to go.
by banning all these physical counters, but
5 seconds.
now they're dealing again with a pusher. That is painful. And the instant silence, very annoying for Ember Spirit, very annoying for Dazzle and Venge if they get hit. This is rough. And also Prophets like to buy US to dodge physical damage or any damage for that matter. And they like Shivas, they like Lotus Orb. We can have a Lotus Orb on Sand King. Beautiful.
And
Which you can absolutely buy the Shard, dodge damage, or maybe Ghost Scepter. Yep. What's up?
And compared to the last game, Death of is a really good pusher, and with the ult time, they can also just time their fights. Maybe they have a bit too much cooldown based heroes, because every hero has an ultimate that's a rather long cooldown.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But yeah, I mean, at least Juggernaut he can, and also Witch Doctor, they can pick up the Shard and get like a mini ultimate. For the Sand King, if he gets like Argonimus, maybe Evidence, maybe Blink, he's gonna be fine. With doing enough in fights, he doesn't need the Epicenter too much. Because if you look at the enemies, they're not that tanky anyways. He mostly just has to stun them and Juggernaut kills them. Shaker.
Yeah, that makes
I guess
sense.
Fish is always strong, maybe get like Argonum Shaker. And I have no idea, no memory of what the Shard does on a Shaker. Do you happen to know?
Not really.
Let me look it up.
Last pick is Red King. I think it makes sense because, as I mentioned earlier, you need somebody next to Sora, to frontline.
Oh, would you look at that? So, reduces Fisher cooldown by 2 seconds and allows Earthshaker to walk on it. Damn.
Yeah.
And Afterlock is casted among the entire Fisher. What? if he gets the Fisher talent, maybe like an Aphrodance for some reason, it can actually do a lot in fights, similar to Sand King Argonums, as I mentioned, without the ultimate. So is it culinary reliant? Well, yes and no. Okay, we get the Wraith King. Push with the skeletons, physical damage. Ooh. If he gets the Argonum Scepter on Wraith King at some point, they have an amazing amount of save mechanics, which makes it very hard for the picking farmers to play like assassins. With like Sand King Argonums, maybe Shaker, maybe Witch Doctor wants to solo kill somebody who's like split pushing or whatnot. Maybe Juggernaut wants to like, I don't know, Swift Blink or Silver Edge up to some support and try and get him out of the fight. But now they got so much save mechanics. What are you gonna do about it? You can't deal with that much.
Yeah.
Like even if they die, they have your items, they can still fight easy.
So just before we pass back to our caster Z this evening, for game 2, Chicken Farmers took the first one. Who do you favour for game 2 tonight?
Radiant. But again, I'm biased.
It's a bit harder to say, I think, than last game.
True.
I'd say maybe Dire, in the late game, definitely.
Okay, so split opinions here. Z?
Interesting.
Pass it back to you and take us through game 2.
Thanks, Ibbsi. Alright, so this is pretty cool, guys. We have a very committed negative armor strat from FeelsGoodMan, which the coaching panel was a little worried about because, of course, when you have no magic damage, the enemy team just itemizes towards armor, and it can make your strategy difficult.
Scribbling?
I'm still kind of into it, though. It's kind of fun when you see these plans. This may be a little bit too much, but it could still work out. It really depends how the game plays out. Now, before we actually talk more about that, we have a smoke. They're going to run into this Witch Doctor right away. I'm not sure if he's the one they want because they didn't quite cast Poison Touch right away. They are going to commit it at the end, but looks like nothing's going to happen here. And that was a bit of a issue in positioning. When you're going to go for a first blood attempt like that, whoever is in front needs to be the initiator. So you can't initiate with Poison Touch because they can just keep walking away. It's a slow, but still. You need to go in with like the stun from Venge or the stun from Slardar. But I like the smoke attempts. Trying to get off to a good start, which we saw in the last game. Now, for these lanes, he does have a sentry on the Dazzle. That's pretty important when you play against Sand King because he can start Sandstorm, and in this game it looks like he is. Uh-oh. So he's actually gone and used the sentry a little too early. So maybe he was using it to check rewards, but when you're playing against Sand King should be taking a lot of harass right now, right? Any other melee offlaner would be getting hit right now because he's just standing here. Sand King gets away with it because he's invis. That's why it's really important to have a sentry in the lane, and that's why I thought he had it. But he ends up using it to deward, and that means he's going to need another sentry to check for the lane. And it looks like he's realized that. He is carrying it out now. In the bottom lane, we have a Slardar Venge versus Witch Doctor Jug. This should be okay for both lanes. Slardar generally good against melee heroes. Jug's strength is his spell immunity, but against a physical damage lineup, it really is a physical damage lineup, he could struggle. And in this lane, you've got this bash from Slardar. However, between the Maledict and Blade Fury, you can still threaten some of these tanky heroes like Slardar because the Maledict puts out a lot of damage. So we'll see if that affects the bottom lane. We'll see which side kind of takes the lead. If Slardar is allowed to like slowly poke with bashes, I think that favors them. But if they go all in on a Maledict stun combo, then the Radiant could find the kills instead. In the mid lane, looks like Ember Spirit taking a bit of harass. Once again, having to play against a ranged hero. He's not going to be super happy with that. Imagine he has a salve on the way. There it is. DP, I'll be curious to see. This Agnum Shard got added in, which lets her steal armor, and that could be pretty good. Venge actually looks like they did go on her and managed to successfully deny herself to the small camp. That's pretty good, especially after they committed some spells for it. You kind of deny them from getting anything. And that would have been first blood as well, so first blood might fall here. All right, he's going to use the salve he had brought in earlier, and once he's full health, he'll be able to play the lane again. Here we see the Maledict being used on Slardar, but he should survive. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a salve. Looks like Venge does, so we'll see if Venge is feeling generous. We'll salve up his friend, which you should, so that he can continue playing the lane. In top lane, Wraith King doing pretty well here, actually. I was a little worried because when you get your skeletons, Sand King actually deals fine with them. However, Wraith King is still... he kind of fits what they needed because they drafted so much negative armor. You need someone who's great at physical damage. And Wraith King is a hero that does that with his guaranteed crit. And even if the skeletons don't get killed, the skeletons do a lot of damage too. So we might see some skeleton kills later on. Dazzle going for a stacked pull here, but Earthshaker's here, so the Radiant's not going to miss too much gold or XP from this, but it is going to help keep the lane, or at least restore the lane a bit for the Wraith King. One weakness we may see out of the Dire is that the support duo isn't going to be able to do too much without a core. So sometimes you see a strong support duo, usually defined by the position 4. So when you have like a Clockwork, he can get a lot of stuff done on his own, and when the other support joins, you can definitely get a lot of stuff done. Last game we saw Grimstroke Lich. Those two can find kills on their own. Speaking of which, down here, looks like Venge gonna fall to the spin Maledict stun combo we talked about. But back to the other point is that the supports in this game will not really do anything on their own. They have to go with the core. Whereas on the enemy side, on the Radiant, they've got a Witch Doctor and Earthshaker, and they could get kills on their own. Earthshaker get a couple stuns, and then Maledict Witch Doctor ult, that's a kill. But Venge and Dazzle, you know, they have to get kind of lucky to find a kill. The enemy team has to mess up a little bit, or they're allowed to hit them for like 15 seconds with the negative armor slowly stacking up. see a bit of a sentry war going on here. Oh my goodness, are we gonna see the skeletons almost killing this Sand King? In fact, they do get it. Didn't expect the sentry on this half. They thought they were safe because he had this sentry over here, but this sentry still revealed him, and he actually ended up dying to the Sand King. A bit of a cheeky tip coming out for that. Tried to stun away, but it was just too late. This Wraith King doing really well. Even though Juggernaut managed to find a kill earlier, you'll see he's having a hard time last hitting versus a Slardar. We check out net worth. Wraith King is getting up there. This could be pretty good for him. Let's see what he's building. Got something on the way. Phase boots on the way. I'll be curious to see what this Ember builds. Because they went for so much negative armor, I was thinking that perhaps Ember would go for the Deso. But then Wraith King is also, like, if he wants to play a tempo lineup, he could go Armlet Deso and find kills that way. Well, Venge fell on the bottom to that same combo, I imagine, and looks like Ember, who we saw survive barely a couple times, looks like he finally falls now. And DP is going to find a double damage rune on the top for that kill, and she might end up killing Ember again. Hopefully we'll be there to spot it. Have a nice stack down here. Fortunately, Slardar and Venge can't really steal stacks. They don't really have very good AoE damage. Juggernaut has spin, and that helps to clear stacks, but he still has to be a little scared, because if he's spinning and then they start hitting him with all this negative armor, he could just die. It is a little scary. A fight going on top. Grave going to save this Dazzle for a little longer. Now Wraith King going to go for this Earthshaker. You see the crits starting to add in damage. Summons the skeletons who get distracted, but he still manages to pick up the Earthshaker. He is going to use a stun here. They have the sentry. Sand King going to keep running out. In the meantime, in the bottom lane, Slardar going to fall again. This Maledict stun spin combo is getting them some kills, which is helping to save the Juggernaut's net worth, because you see his last hits are not the greatest, but he is getting a couple kills, and that's he's still a little bit behind this Wraith King, almost 1,000 actually. That is kind of an issue, but it should still be okay. Now, Wraith King actually trapped here. Didn't take his ult at 6, which is pretty common, but he may die here for it. DP is up here, TP'd in with the double damage, but doesn't actually have enough mana to use too much. Looks like he's just going to get away. Ember going to be pressuring mid as a response. Now, last game we saw the mid tower fall pretty early, around 8 minutes. DP can do something similar, but it's a little harder because she does have to commit her ultimate. And I would say it's already looking better for FeelsGoodMan because they haven't lost this mid tower. Last game we saw that fall really quickly, and that kind of stuff can really determine the tempo of the game. A Slardar is a little far up. The stun, Maledict, spin already going on. Looks like it's still going to be enough damage. Yeah, that Maledict hit pretty big. He's going to fall here. If not this next one, then the final one. Juggernaut ult being used on the Venge. The bounces went to the creeps for a little bit, but ended up going back to the Venge. Jug going to pick up a double kill. Oh, actually, Witch Doctor got one of the kills. Well, that's safe. You know, for a Witch Doctor, he's like, look, man, I got a kill. That's like you getting a kill. Feels great for a support. You get a bit of gold. And Jug's going to get this free farm now, you know? I didn't kill steal that. It's just how Maledict works. A regen rune for the Ember. We might see him play a little aggressive and then just heal up. Earthshaker trying to stay nearby. If they trap, he doesn't have a Remnant out, which means if he gets trapped and then silenced, he might have an issue. He's going to place the Remnant now. There is the silence followed by the stun, Maledict, Fissure, Witch Doctor ult, gonna guarantee the kill. Ooh, Witch Doctor. Guys, I'm just helping get kills around the map. You know? And that is, Witch Doctor's a support who ends up picking up quite a few kills throughout a game, usually. Just the way Maledict works, and his ultimate also puts out a good amount of damage. Some chain stuns on this Venge, or on the Juggernaut, but Venge actually a little too slow to get the magic missile off. I think Jug may have survived there anyways, but he's definitely going to survive once that stun misses. DP now TPing down here. Now, if they don't get something, I'm actually a little concerned, because this DP went top, didn't find a kill. Went bottom, and they're going to disengage, and they're actually going to find the Sand King kill up here. Yeah, so right now I'm a little worried because I haven't seen this DP ult come out. She hit 6 earlier, and we'll see all these towers are still up. It's not the DP ideal game. So she's gonna come back to mid now. Wraith King gonna find a double damage. In the meantime, in the top, they actually find the Earthshaker as well. So Ember having a better time this game, picking up a couple kills here. Gonna find this bounty rune, steal it from the enemy team.
Never refuse gold given.
How are we doing on levels? Looks like just Earthshaker, Slardar, and Venge, not quite yet 6. Now, the thing with a negative armor lineup is that it's not good unless you're together. So for example, Slardar ulting someone. That's cool. It's not game-changing though, because it's just Slardar. Now Slardar with Venge. Now you have 2 armor reduction sources. Now that's pretty cool. Now you're getting scary. Many heroes are going to start dropping towards 0 armor, which means you're essentially doing pure damage. Then you add in a Dazzle, a 3rd negative armor source. And now you're doing bonus damage with your right clicks and physical damage. So negative armor strats really require a team to play together when you want to start making use of it. So right now you kind of have like 2 in the bottom lane. It's scary, not quite. You're not seeing the full potential of the negative armor lineup yet. Now Radiant gonna push this top tower. Looks like the Dire is just gonna give it up. Wraith King's made his way to the jungle. Wraith King's a hero who farms extremely quickly, even in the jungle with skeletons. Unfortunately, the skeletons are a little distracted by the enemy team here. But once they're up again, he'll be fine in the jungle. Now, they are gonna lose the first tower. Ember trying to pressure mid though. Get some decent damage on it. Is gonna have to get out of here. Stunned? Oh. Fortunately, the extra TP time is gonna mean the silence does not go off. It's gonna get out alive. Now, this mid tower is falling quite low though. So if the Dire can pick up this mid tower, that'll help balance out the gold advantage from the towers and open up the map for them. In the bottom lane, looks like they tried to dive a little bit and ended up going out of position. Venge now going to fall, and looks like Dazzle might be next. Juggernaut has his ult. Grave is going to come out. He's going to walk to the creeps. A heal, going to buy himself a little bit more time, but as we all see, not enough time. Now, Slardar should be all right on his own here, unless some really unlucky cask bounces. Unfortunately, the Maledict missed, and so that Witch Doctor ult maybe could have done enough with another cask bounce, but in this case, he's just going to get out alive. A silence stun combo. Ember should be okay with a Remnant. Actually, Remnant straight to the Earthshaker. Sleight of Fist going to dodge the stun. Going to fall low, but he is going to survive. The Wraith King actually TP'd in here, trying to pick up a kill. It might be a little scary, though. Sand King going to stun him. Channels the ult. Wraith King has level 1 reincarnation. Doesn't want to lose it, though. You'll often see many Wraith Kings skip it until they can get 2 levels at once in it, because the cooldown is just so long. But he does have it, and maybe he was in a fight earlier that we missed, and he thought it'd be worth having it as a safety measure. It's also not that weird to take it early, though. They did lose the mid tower there. This is kind of what we saw last game as well, where the Radiant picked some lineups, or at least the mid laner really kind of defined the tempo, where Pugna was doing it, and now it's DP doing it. DP struggled a little bit at the start, but now we see it's kind of come to what they planned for. DP picking up 2 tower kills, or at least getting her team the tower kills. And the Dire still don't have their own tower quite yet, but this time the mid is fairly low, which is better than last time. Top is also falling fairly low, so if they focus a bit of effort, so for example, the Ember moves top, pressures that a little bit. If the Radiant don't react quickly, then they could lose a tower. Earthshaker actually just going to go ahead and deny this tower. Fairly good, better than losing a tower straight up, but still nice for the Dire because at least the map is opening up a little. And now Wraith King is here. I have several heroes here. Could be nice to get this mid tower. Fortunately, you have a Sand King who's pretty good at defending towers. Ember Spirit actually just going in for the Witch Doctor. Gonna pick up the kill. DP TPing in. Gonna commit ult. Could be a bit scary to continue fighting. Sand King is gonna fall. But with this DP ult going, they're actually feeling confident. They can just keep going. Earthshaker is gonna fall. Spirit Siphon keeping her healthy. Gonna find the first life on the Wraith King. And looks like that might be it. The tower is still up. But unless Juggernaut TP's in, I think it's going to fall here. All right, pretty good for the Dire. I think they weren't able to use the Echo there. Otherwise, that fight may have been a little different. Juggernaut committing ult, picks up the Slardar kill. Now, Juggernaut's having a good time. He's getting several kills, but unfortunately, you see the last hits really going in the way of Wraith King. And so, despite all those kills, 4-0 and 4 on the Juggernaut, he is still behind the Wraith King. Just goes to show you guys that last hits are really important for carries. A common mistake at lower ranks is that you get really focused on kills because kills feel great. But kills tend to not be worth quite as much as just regular old last hits. Within reason, of course. And in this case, it's about 40 last hits. Now, if you manage to get kills and still last hits, then that's the best. That's kind of what the Wraith King's at. He's 4-0 and 1 and has these last hits. And that's how you see him having over 1,000 gold advantage on the enemy carry, even though they're the same level. A big rotation around here. Fissure not going to block her off. It's on the wrong side. Avenge might still fall here. Grave going to buy her a bit more time. Let's see if they dive for it. A Witch Doctor going in. One more auto attack. Doesn't quite get the kill. Healing Ward going to be out to heal up this Witch Doctor. DP is here. Doesn't have ult quite yet, but you have a lot of the Radiant team here, so they may just pick up this tower here. Ember just pressuring this Juggernaut a little bit. Neither of them can really threaten a kill on the other unless one of them makes a big mistake. Ember here actually going for the Yules. This is pretty good against the channeling of the Witch Doctor, against the Juggernaut's ult. It'll help keep him alive against this silence, maybe dodge some cask bounces. It's pretty good overall. I wonder if he'll go... Looks like he's not going to go for the Deso, because it looks like Wraith King is actually picking up the Deso. So it looks like Ember's job this game is going to be a bit more on the active side, maybe contribute a little bit of magic damage. I think it could have been cool. I guess I'm not sure what Wraith King would have bought, though. A huge crit on the Witch Doctor, going to pick up a very fast kill. Sand King trapped in the back. Buying a bit of time because they don't have detection. Thinking about channeling his ult. Can't decide if he wants to commit to it. Faking it a couple of times. They are going to pick up the Sand King kill as well. This tower is still alive as well. So I thought the Radiant might pick up all the towers first, but actually in a twist of events, the Dire has got all the tier 1s. And it's going to be looking much better for them than last game. Last game, they were falling several thousand behind at this point. But this game, they've got the advantage on the Wraith King in terms of net worth, and the towers are in their favor as well. They might even look to pressure this tier 2 a bit. He's got 5 skeletons. Skeleton's pretty good for tower damage. The Radiant don't deal with this. This is going to fall pretty quickly. They are bringing in a lot of people. Good Sand King ult with the blink. Might have been the difference if Sand King had been able to be here a little sooner, but he was dead. A decent ult in the back. Going to find the first live on the Wraith King and the kill on the Venge. Jug ult used on the Wraith King, trying to toggle his armlet a little bit. Grave used earlier, I think on the Ember though, so Wraith King is going to fall here. They may have stayed a bit too long now. Ember should be okay with some of these remnants. Actually out of remnant charges now though. Unless he jukes them, he might die, because you've got the blink stun on Sand King. They actually decide they don't want to chase under the tower. I think maybe they could have if they wanted to, but I can't fault them for wanting to play it a little safe. Earthshaker making his way to his blink. We saw some good Echo Slams in the last game, which helped win the game. And we might see that this game as well. I think this blink timing's a little slower than last game. Things are not as smooth for them, but still a very competitive game. About even at the 20-minute mark here. Dazzle gonna get silenced, not gonna be able to Grave, fall. Wraith King, TP it in to try to help. I think he just needs to keep farming for a bit, though. He needs to finish up at least this Desolator and maybe even another item. But then you'll have a lot of negative armor synergy. And Juggernaut, strength is the spell immunity. So he could if he gets caught out in a couple stuns, you might see him fall really quickly to this negative armor. Negative armor strat of the Dire. Looks like things have relaxed down a little bit. Both sides trying to finish up some items. I think the Radiant really do want to wait for this blink on the Earthshaker. And actually, Jug might be able to finish his Ags in that time as well. And that could be a really powerful combo. They're actually going to give the double damage to the Juggernaut, and they might look for a fight. He doesn't have ult, but double damage Jug is still very scary. Right now, a lot of the Dire are in their own triangle, though. So, Radiant, let's see if they keep pushing for it. They slaughter the Slardar, and they're pinging it. They're not quite sure where he is now, though. If we take a look at their vision, they want to fight, but they don't have too much deep vision, so it's a little scary. They see the Wraith King, going to channel the stun on the Sand King. Wraith King is going to fall. Now, Juggernaut ult, finally up, but only on the Venge. Maybe not the greatest Juggernaut ult. Wraith King is going to get away with his ultimate there. And Dazzle going to fall next. Trying to Yule to the Sand King, but slightly late. DP pretty far in, but she's pretty tanky right now. Will they be able to get this tier 2 tower? With the Fortify out, the creep wave should die. Should buy enough time. DP ult is still up for a few more seconds. I don't think it's quite enough to get this tower, and you don't want to stay too long. It's a little scary. Good Blink Echo in the back line. DP taking a lot of damage from this tower, though. The chain stun on the Ember going to secure the kill. Someone take the tower damage from this DP. Ooh, that was close. They really want this DP kill. The Blink stun from the Slardar just going to miss. The Blink stun for the Sand King not gonna miss. Slardar looks like he's gonna fall here. A nice grave to buy a bit more time. He is affected by Maledict though, so Jug also spinning on top of him. He is gonna fall. Glimmer Cape from Witch Doctor gonna keep him alive for a little bit, but not enough damage on his ult to get anything in return. Will Jug fall here? Yeah, look at this negative armor starting to come in. Oh, but the Earthshaker actually blinks in to save his life. Oh my god, did you see that crit, guys? That was about 1,100 damage on that Earthshaker from the amount of negative armor physical crit that the Wraith King was able to hit him there. It was, that's a lot. Let's see if they've itemized for any physical damage. This is what I was a little worried about. It was kind of obvious that they were going for a negative armor strat by around the 2nd to 3rd pick for the Dire. And the Radiant draft is like cohesive on its own, but if you think about their base armors, not that high on several of these heroes, such as the Witch Doctor, who has 2 starting base armor. But then think about the items they want to build. Think about the aura armor items in this game. Who's going to build Vlad's? Who's going to build a Greaves? Things like that. Who wants to build Shiva as AC? You don't really have natural builders of that in the picks. Now that is kind of hard to plan and draft for. Drafting is very hard in this game. Now, an attempted Blink stun actually didn't go off until just now. The whole Dire team is here. Jug's running over. Let's see if he'll make it in time. Grave going to save this Ember for a little bit longer. Venge falling to this as DP ult. Wraith King now might be in a bit of trouble himself. First life going to go down. Grave should be up in time to save him if he keeps going. He is trapped by the fissure right now. Grave going to save him a little longer. Managed a huge crit on the Sand King again, and the Earthshaker falls to the Slardar Ember. Remnanting and blinking away. He Yules the Jug. These guys should get out fine. Honestly, I'm not sure who that favors. Looks like it's about even in terms of net worth gain. And the game is still quite close, 2K at 24 minutes. The Dire, if they win a fairly clean fight, they can do Roshan extremely quickly. The Dire, or I'm sorry, the Radiant though, they don't have the best Roshan takers. They've got some stuns, and Jug has like, you know, not bad damage, but it can be a little harder. Their Roshan's gonna be a lot slower. Fissure stun on the Ember, but he's far enough away. He's just gonna Remnant out. They're smoking, but they don't have DP ult right now, and they don't have Sand King ult. They do have Jug Juggernaut Omni Slash. They're running into the enemy side. It's a little blind, though. They don't quite see everyone. They see the Slardar. Looks like they're going to go for him. Maybe just the spin, Sand King stun. In the back, they're actually going on the Venge. Gonna commit Omni Slash, but actually gets caught up in the Yules. Oh, it was actually the Death Prophet's Yules, so he's able to use his own Yules after. Or no, maybe vice versa. I'm not sure. That may have been a bit of a misclick from the DP because it actually saved the Ember, I think. The 2 Yules bought him enough time. And they did pick up a Venge kill, but not quite what you want when you commit a smoke. They're still feeling confident, though. They're going for the Roshan. They got themselves a ward here. The Dire doesn't seem like they quite know. I think if they were here, they could poke this out, though, because as you see, like, the Roshan is slow. If Ember were here, like, slowly whittling away with Sleight of Fist, and then maybe a nice Slardar Blink Stun on, like, 4 heroes here, I do think they could buy enough time for Venge to TP to this tower and then fight. But it looks like they are going to get it uncontested now. In the meantime, the lanes weren't really pushed out, so they didn't get anything for their own. So Radiant going to pick up the Roshan. Aegis on the Juggernaut here. Working on a Basher. Could help secure an Ember kill later with some lucky bashes, perhaps. Now, even though they have Aegis, the game is still quite close in terms of gold. So they can't just willy-nilly group up and attempt a fight. And they might find a Witch Doctor here. Glimmer going to buy himself a little bit more time, but they did have a sentry in place. Sand King channeling his ult is going to change his mind. Slardar going to finish up that Witch Doctor kill. And might keep looking for more. Now with all 5 of them here now, which Ember was going to go for more. Looks like they were a little undecided on it. Slardar stopped chasing and then Ember actually went in. Now because Witch Doctor is dead, they do have a 5-on-4 advantage. They could use this to fight, even though the enemy team has Aegis. When you just have the numbers advantage, it's pretty good for you. You'll see the Desolator plus the Skeletons doing a lot of damage here. Sand King channeling the ult. Gonna Blink Stun on the Wraith King. He does have his ult, though. He might even be graved a little longer. 4 staff from the Dazzle, gonna save him. The Slardar went in to buy some time, trying to run out now. The Blink Stun from the Sand King, gonna guarantee... I thought it was gonna guarantee the kill. Almost got away still. Made it into the river where he gets an extra speed boost. A Fissure, almost blocking off the Ember, not quite though. The Silence gonna prevent him from using any spells, but he's fast enough to just walk out. Wraith King tried to come in to buy some time for the Ember. Gonna have to use his BKB here. Omni Slash on the Wraith King. Glimmer gonna save him for a little bit, but then the Battle Fury actually picks up the kill and the Venge kill as well. Did use his ult for that, though. Which means maybe they can fight when Slardar's up. Echo just missing the Ember. You might feel confident fighting if the Radiant keeps going here. Once the Slardar's up, because the enemies have no big spells anymore. But it looks like Radiant has identified that, and they're just going to take this period to relax a little bit. If they manage to take all these tier 2 towers, they're going to solidify their lead. That sounds obvious, but it really is kind of what you want to do. For example, they could wait for all their ults and then decide to try to push high ground. But what if they win a big fight there and they take this Rex? I mean, that's great, but then they can't go to the top or bottom racks because they don't have the tier 2s. And trying to win a mid-game fight can be tough, or on the high ground. So by taking these tier 2s first, it makes it easier. They solidify their lead, and that should make the high ground fights better. And then when they get the kills and break the high ground, they can then take multiple sets. Slardar getting jumped on here. Again, buying time with these Glimmers. The Radiant needs a couple more sources of detection, it feels like. They are going to pick up this bottom tower. And I don't think they should go for the high ground. I think they should just make their way top, grab that, the last tower. They do have Aegis, though, and I think they're feeling the pressure to get this. 2 sets open is fine. A nice double stun into a cask. Actually going to guarantee 2 kills. So it looks like they are going to be able to take this high ground. And because they at least got bottom tower first, the tier 2, if they win this, I mean, they kind of are winning. But if they take this and they feel they have enough time, they could go for the mid-racks as well. A DP ult, going to slowly whittle down these buildings. You can actually take them faster if you stand next to the buildings. It does put you at a little bit more risk. But when 2 of the enemy cores are dead, you might feel comfortable doing that. So for example, right now, if she really wanted to take this tower as fast as possible, she could stand right next to it. Quick slash on the Wraith King. He is kind of tanky though. Gonna be all right. Mid took a little bit of damage, but I think they should leave and be happy with this set of racks falling down. They should just wait for their ults. They do have Echo Slam still, but they don't have any of their other big ults. So now it's fine to just relax a little bit, farm up. Aegis might end up expiring here in that time. But you got racks with it, you got a couple towers, and I think you'll be happy with that. For the Dire, they're starting to fall behind. 10k, starting to get a little scary. Their negative armor is still pretty good, though. If they can start finding some individual kills instead of full-on team fights, because you have Echo Slam, you've got this Sand King, you got these cask bounces, Jug ult, DP ult, this global silence, or not global, this AoE silence from the DP. The team fights go really in the favor of Radiant when it ends up being a 5-on-5, especially when you factor in their 12k advantage. So the Dire, they still delete heroes pretty quickly because of how much negative armor they have. So if they can find, you know, a Witch Doctor here, maybe a DP on her own, that's how you buy yourself some time. But the Radiant are just grouping up, making it difficult to do that. So their next option is to quickly push out all the other towers, try to catch up in some farm that way. We said it earlier, kills tend to be worth a little less than just straight up CS. So if you have Ember pushing down one lane, getting, say, 5 creep waves on his own, that helps him catch up compared to the enemy team that is all grouped up, splitting all the XP in the area, all the gold in the area. And you buy yourself some time by pushing in these waves, and then the enemy team has to go deal with it. Ember, a really good hero for that because of Fire Remnant and the way he can escape from a lot of things. Wraith King also pretty good at it. If he gets to a tower uncontested and he uses his skeletons, it's goodbye tower. They take towers pretty quickly, especially because he went for a Deso build. Now, even though we talked about how they went for a negative armor strat, the Radiant really didn't build anything to address it, it feels like. They haven't gone out of their way to buy armor, and it's kind of worked out. Nice Echo Slam on 2 heroes here. Looking to pick up an Ember kill. Yule's going to buy him a bit of time. Didn't have a Remnant out ahead of time, though, and I think he is going to fall here. Slardar has Blink, has Sprint. He should be okay, but they should be able to push this and possibly force a buyback from the Ember. They do have DP ult here, so they can go for more. Creep wave is here. See, is DP gonna commit her ult? Maybe they want to wait for the next Roshan. Maybe they don't feel they can take this quite yet. I think you could apply some pressure. I mean, they are applying pressure, but I think you could commit ult and start to whittle it down while Ember's still dead. We're gonna go now, but Ember's almost up. But they did find a pretty decent initiation on the Slardar, and that might have been what they were waiting for. Dazzle ends up buying back because he died too. They do have 40 seconds now where Slardar cannot buy back. They may not know that, but I think as these fall and Slardar's not buying back, it might become a little obvious. They do get 1 Rax. Melee still alive. Wraith King in, tanking on 5 heroes. First life gonna go down. They should have enough damage to get the second life, but looks like he's gonna walk away. Fissure gonna block him off on the wrong side, actually. He might find this Ember kill instead. Stun on the Juggernaut, buying the Ember some time. BKB and Grave used on the Wraith King. 1 more set of racks should fall here. Wraith King actually falling to the Maledict, I believe. A Fissure into Sand King stun. Quick slash coming out, but the Yules actually buys him a bit of time. 2 sets down. Swap on the Sand King. Might be able to find a return kill here, but Fissure going to buy him a bit more time. Trying to stun away. The Shard coming into play allows him to stun all along the Fissure when he uses any other spell. And that's going to buy the Sand King enough time to get away. In the meantime, his team is hitting the mid tower, and it's almost down. 20k up now for Chicken Farmers. Slardar might get caught out here again. Looks like he's going to survive, but Jug is just going to take the opportunity to start taking all these buildings. Don't think they'll be able to save their ranged Drax here, unless they sacrifice their own bodies, but instead you're going to die and lose the building. And now, a melee falling down. They don't have the Wraith King, the strongest hero on their team. I don't think he's going to be up in time. That's Megas. It's going to be pretty tough for the Dire to win this, to be honest, guys. Not to be too grim for them. But when you fall behind with Megas, Dazzle and Venge don't really clear out creeps very well. They're not supports with good AoE. Wraith King's okay at it because he has the skeletons and he just does a lot of damage as a carry. But he didn't go for the Radiance, which is pretty good for also clearing out. Slardar, another hero that doesn't really clear out mega creeps well. Ember, traditionally a hero that does have good AoE, but the build he went, he doesn't have a Maelstrom, doesn't have a Battle Fury. He still has his spells, but they're not really equipped to deal with Megas. So if they want to win, what they have to do, they have to just keep holding their base. And they're going to have to do this for like 20 minutes until the Radiant mess up several fights in a row, and then they die, and they have like a 100-second cooldown, and then you run it down mid and try to take buildings in that 100 seconds. It's going to be tough to do that, though, especially as the second Roshan about to fall here. I imagine Jug's going to take the Aegis. DP could take the cheese. A DP, not the best Aegis carrier, because if she ults and she dies, then it's gone. And that's her strength. So she's a much better cheese carrier because when you're about to die, you cheese and you keep your exorcism going. Juggernaut, pretty solid Aegis carrier because if he dies, he comes back and he still has his right clicks. That's what he does. And he's not a hero like Terrorblade who loses meta. Though that's not as much of an issue anymore now that Terrorblade has his Ags. They're going to come in here. If they want to play it safe, they should just let DP and Jug slowly chip these buildings down with the mega creeps. A big Echo Slam over here on 3 heroes. Gonna, looks like secure a double kill for the Jug, or the first life of the Wraith King anyways, but now he's pretty far out here, and I believe Quick Slash should find the second life. Now, DP falling low. There you go. There's the cheese we talked about. Full health, ready to continue fighting. Actually even has a regen rune bottled up. Exorcism, still half duration left. A valiant effort from FeelsGoodMan, but Chicken Farmers look like they're going to get the second win here in this series. And since it's the best of 3, that should be it. Chicken Farmers going to claim the victory. Pretty clean win from them. The mid lane was a little harder to get going. It was stalled out a little bit this time, but then they made it start to work and clean up some towers and go from there. I'm going to pass it back to Ibbsi and our coaching panel to talk about what Chicken Farmers did right and what FeelsGoodMan can look to improve on for the next series, next week.
Yeah, thank you, Z, for taking us through that. Keo, Carl, back with you guys at the coaching panel here. Yeah, 2 wins out of 2 for Chicken Farmers, and that'll give tonight's series to them. Talk us through what you saw there, what worked well for Chicken Farmers, and what maybe didn't get going quite right for FeelsGoodMan.
So, Carl, you wanna start? Because I am very biased and happy that my team won.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
Carl, you did favor the FeelsGoodMan draft. You thought, that they had an advantage in the draft there.
well, it was pretty equal to be honest, but I think in the late game, FeelsGoodMan could have won. There were a lot of options, There were 2 squishy supports on FeelsGoodMan, so the position was really crucial, but they messed it up a little bit. And also the starter wasn't able to do his job because of the bad laning, they had, because Juggernaut with the Maledict was really strong combo, which deleted the FeelsGoodMan offlane. So it was really from that point that Slara couldn't do his job. Red King was alone on the front line, and there were like 3 heroes in the back line. And also, since they had really squishy supports. They couldn't survive the ults from the chickens farmers, which have been essential to win fights. Because if they can survive, the ultis from the chicken farmers, then they can win the fight. Because you have an Amber Spirit, you have Breaking. They both like to have long fights because of the low cooldowns on the ults, and Amber Spirit also the Sleight of Fist and such.
You mentioned that the Jug was picking up kills with the Witch Doctor in the bottom lane, but the Wraith King was actually getting some really, really good farm for FeelsGoodMan. While I think the Death Prophet, although she seemed to dominate the Ember Spirit during the lane, really struggled to sort of push on with that advantage and start taking the towers quickly. Kia, what do you think? Why didn't they? I know. Obviously, at the end, chicken farmers did win, but it felt like maybe it took a little bit of time to get going.
Yeah, I feel like the team FeelsGoodMan, we gotta give them credit. They have adjusted, they have learned from the first game. Was it enough? No, but a step in the right direction. Maybe next week they can show it to them, or if they ever scrim, we might learn from that. But I still think they should go for the split pushing style against this really push and team fight heavy with lots of stuns from the chicken farmers. And of course, they unfortunately have not defended the mid lane tower long enough. But I like that they adjusted with the Wraith King item build, Ember Spirit item build, going a lot less greedy, no Battlefield, no Maelstrom whatsoever. I do think the Desolator on the Wraith King is a bit overkill. Like, sure, you push faster, but honestly, you just get Assault Cuirass later if you really want towers.
So what would have been instead of picking up the Deso, what would have been better for the Wraith King? Do you think?
Perhaps the Argonauts I mentioned, or perhaps just AC Rush, or Blink, or BKB. Any of those would have probably been alright. I'm not so sure about the Orb of Corrosion. I think it's a bit of a waste of money because you do not go for a farming build, so you gotta be a little bit careful with where you spend your money.
And I think before the draft for that second game out started, you said that you didn't quite like so many of these big ultimate heavy heroes.
Yes, yes.
But that's exactly what we saw from chicken farmers, and it worked for them. What do you think?
But look, they have adjusted. Look at the Shaker. Sure as Echo Slam, like he jumps in, but then allies of the enemy team get saved. But look at his like he created a second ultimate, hasn't he? He got Avalance, and he got the Arcanum Shard to buff his fissure, buffing the hell out of his fissure. It's literally a second ultimate, and that's a low cooldown ultimate. So you can play around it. I really love how he adjusted. Also, I think maybe I'm a bit nitpicking here, but I think the Shivas could have been a Death Prophet, and maybe an Arcanum Scepter on a Sand King for the same reason with the Shaker.
And Carl, across both those two games, what impressed you most from chicken farmers tonight?
From those games, well, it's pretty hard to say. I mean, honestly, the mid from chicken farmers played really well. Both games, like he did his job, but good items for himself. So I really liked how the mid played,
And Keo, what can FeelsGoodMan, what can they take away from tonight? Looking forward to the next games.
Yes, please hold your mid lane tower against aggressive lineups, especially with mid lane magical pushers. And split push. If you can't hold, split push, please, for the love of God. Good luck next time.
I think we should be almost ready for the captains of both teams to join us. So we'll have Felicia Fancybottom from FeelsGoodMan, and I believe it's pronounced Wretched.
Yes.
Chicken farmers. Firstly, congratulations, Wretched, and commiserations, Felicia. Felicia, if we start with you, from your perspective, what happened tonight? What went wrong for you guys?
Well, I mostly think
Wait, I forgot the enemy team's name.
Chicken farmers. You were playing against
Yeah.
chicken farmers tonight.
I think chicken farmers just executed their game plan better than we did. I feel game one we weren't really as prepared, and they kind of stormed us a bit. We know they played the puck now, but we were like, okay, we can deal with it. They can just pick the puck now. And well, it actually, well, you saw how it turned out. We got kind of stunned by them. And I mean, the second game we felt more confident, but then they still got the dead profit. They got their pushy lineup, and that's kind of the thing that we didn't really know how to exactly deal with it. We tried to be more thoughtful, be more picky, and well, yeah, it just didn't work out. They just executed their game plan better than we did.
I'm not sure if you heard, Keo was giving some advice. If you do find yourself in that position again, if I'm not sure if you heard, but Keo, maybe you'd like to sort of repeat just what you said there, for the benefit.
Right. So you can check more details on the video on demand later, but generally, I want you guys to really defend your mid lane tower if you do play against Pagna, Deathroth, and Leshrak. Alright? So there's two types of pushing, right? Three types, arguably. So either an early game Necronomicon Summoner hero, or like maybe Enchantress, Chen, stuff like that. Then there's the magical type, usually mid laners. And then of course late game like Desolators, Assault Cuirasses, just carries really. But for like the higher tempo and the dominance that you mentioned, I think you would not have felt the dominance so much if you had defended your mid lane towers in both games. I'm talking about a tier 1 way more than tier 2. I don't really care about tier 2. But mid lane tier 1, if they get it, it means it opens up the maps for them. It's much easier to play the Roche Pit. And pretty much the same rule for your safe lane tier 1 if you play Dire, considering the Roche Pit. Because honestly, just hold them so that the enemy team does not reach a critical time around 20-25 minutes, maybe even 15 minutes if they are fast, where they get their items, like 1 or 2 items, and certainly 1 more rotation more of items than you have on any hero. Getting one of your tier 2 towers, usually safe lane, perhaps mid lane first. Off lane really doesn't matter because Roche Pit is not in the off lane, speaking of Dire. So if you do lose these towers early, you lose Roche control, and you lose item progression. You get it a few minutes later, especially second and third item on all heroes. You're losing Roche, you're losing more towers, you're losing probably a high round defense. So I want you guys to respect that the enemy team is way stronger at a given time if you have lost your towers. And honestly, let them take a tier 2, let them take a tier 3, let them even take 2 lanes of Rexes. I do not mind. But if you farm while they are just hitting towers, that's not giving them much gold. If you farm during that, I earlier gave the example, if they push mid, if they run on mid as 5, you push bottom, you push top as far as possible. And you push it as long as you force rotations. Because if they rotate, you rotate back, and they rotate far into their base, and you rotate somewhere in the middle of the map, you can farm. They have to D-push first. You get map control, you can D-ward, you can place wards. Please, split pushing is the counter for 5 manning. And to counter split pushing, to complete the cycle, the circle, or whatever, it's ganking. Split pushing, if you just gank them because they are probably alone, meaning you have initiation, you have reach, you have catch, hard disable, nukes, kill them fast, and then get back to your pushing.
And Ratchet, congratulations on the win tonight. For both games, as we've already discussed a bit there, you went for quite a push-heavy lineup. Was this a plan you had coming into the game tonight?
It was something we have been practicing for most of the week since we just got established as a team, so to say. We did practice, basically, we just looked at our favorite heroes, the ones we already had practice with, and went, oh, these are very simple pushing lineups. It mostly relies, as Cube already said, on our mid lane. Savant really has to carry a lot of the early pressure, so to say. But I think it made sense to basically get just accelerate the game, so to say. Like, we are lower skill players, like all of us, and just speeding up the game probably through the NFT team a bit off the rocker, so to say.
So you think push early and sort of knock their game plan off? Is that sort of the way you were coming at it?
That was definitely the way we were trying to do, because we realized basically in both games they're position 1. If they got like 3 or even the 4th item, we couldn't stop them anymore, basically. That was basically, I think, the timing they could have hit if the game went long enough, where we would have just lost. But yeah, we tried not to let that happen.
And have you got any other sort of strategies in mind that you're going to use through the rest of the tournament, or is this something we're going to see from you quite a lot?
Not
to give any secrets away.
I'm keeping it secret, but I think it's we will. This was basically our week 1. We'll have one solid strategy with a few heroes that can fill the roles we need, and yeah, I'm hoping we can show some other stuff the coming weeks. Probably still some push lineups in there, but yeah, can't say much more currently.
And for any of the other coaches with us tonight, Carl or Ibbsi, if you're still around, is there anything you would like to add from what you saw tonight for either of the teams? Any helpful feedback you feel that'd be good for them going forwards?
Well, there were in both games there was a moment when Juggernaut TP'd back, which is I think it was bad because you could have gotten tier 3 in the first game with the Palme, and you shouldn't. I don't think the Juggernaut should be the one to TP back with Aegis, Other than that, I think you said most things, So yeah.
And Keo, I know obviously you're the coach of chicken farmers, so maybe you want to keep sort of your advice for them.
I was speaking about it.
Maybe for FeelsGoodMan, maybe you could offer some words of advice for those guys.
Okay. So one of the main things I will talk about in the team coaching is about the first game. As I mentioned earlier, I was really loving how they took the top lane tower, then the mid lane tower, but then I don't like that they abandoned the top mid area. They should just control it. But anyways, this is very common in pub games, very common in any tier 4, tier 5 team games. Team FeelsGoodMan, Captain Felicia, if you guys see the enemies winning the early game, winning the lanes, but then they play in 3 lanes, you can fight them in the 3rd lane. You're gonna win the fight, and you have won it in the first game, and that's your point where you might get something back. And I think you guys even got their safe lane tower for it. So that's something that you can punish. I really liked how you did it, and I also gave you a bit of credit in the announcement channel, how you guys adjusted your item builds, how you drafted much smarter. Really, just keep it up, and who knows, next week you're gonna be dominant, and perhaps you guys can scrim against each other. And I hope you guys win a little bit more, but you played well. It was way more even than it seemed.
Thank you for the words. I think scrimming is definitely something we want to do maybe in the upcoming weeks.
Awesome.
So that was my next question. Actually, I think it's you've both got a week until your next game. What are your plans during those 7 days? Are you going to be doing some friendly scrims, playing together a bit, or analyzing tonight's game, or what are you guys going to do to try and improve for your next game?
Well, I think I'm definitely gonna rewatch the stream, maybe with the coach, maybe with some analyze. I think we're gonna work much more on a game plan, and I think scrim can also be a thing. That's also a nice way to actually get some more experience with drafting. This is only my 2nd time drafting, so well, 1st and 2nd.
So the actual, just the drafting stage, trying to work out, what's going to sort of gel well with your team and your players.
Yeah, all new. But I think we had great communication, the first one. And I think the second one we even did better. But it's something we can work on as a team.
Wow, I didn't know you guys just get started with drafting. Like, honestly, that was amazing. Especially how you adjusted in the second game with the draft. Like, the Pugna ban and having a clearer strategy with the armor reduction. I mentioned on the stream, you guys can rewatch it later, but you guys could have picked a band with a Wyvern, for example, because that's again a huge counter. And one thing about the first draft, you had a similar order, right? Picking the offlane combo, banning safe lane heroes, stuff like that. And then my team picked Juggernaut, which is much harder to counter because he's way more survivable compared to the PA. So yeah, my team can get away with a third pick carry, but for you guys it's a bit more risky.
And Ratchet, to yourself, what have you guys got planned for the next week or so?
Honestly, we have nothing specific planned, but we're definitely gonna look into refining our push strategy, considering there were still many mistakes. I personally made a lot early embarrassing deaths. Well, as the first game.
No, come on.
Sorry, the second game. I do not give proper respect sometimes. But yeah, no, it's gonna be probably still casual, so to say. We aren't like here to like be the best of the best. We're here to get an experience out of the league. We got a very fun experience today, like just playing together, having actual team, and as been said, the second game it was scary. Like basically all of us were just a few hits from death based on just the amount of minus armor that was going around. Like, don't think any of us were like above like 5 armor during the entire game.
Was there any pre-game nerves coming in tonight, or was everyone quite settled on your comms?
I think there were definitely nerves for the first game. After the first game, I personally could relax a lot more, and now I'm just looking forward to the rest of the league.
Amazing.
Is anyone else, I know we've got some other people in the chat, has anyone else got anything they'd like to add just before we sort of start wrapping things up?
I would just thank my team. It was a fun time being a stand-in for FeelsGoodMan and enjoyed the time. Sorry I failed you guys that we didn't win, but maybe if I be a stand-in again.
Don't worry. I've been watching a ton of TPC recently, and I've got to say, guys, all of your performances were amazing tonight. Like, I am way more impressed than I saw any flaws, and I'm a coach. I see flaws only.
I think then on that note, we'll sort of call it a night there. Thanks for everyone being involved here, to the coaches, casters, and both teams for playing. Tomorrow, I believe it's pronounced Devanche against the Panini Boys at 4 p.m. And just to let everyone know, if there's it's a really new tournament. If there's anyone else who'd like to get involved to help out with either the casting, the hosting, please feel free to get in touch. The link to the Discord is on screen just now. But yeah, once again, thanks everyone for joining us, and have a nice evening.
Yeah, you too, guys. Have a nice evening.